Good morning, everyone, once again. I'm just here to give you a small announcement. Please, if you are in need of a coffee right now, some coffee, a bite, snack, some breakfast has been served, please feel free at your pace to go and grab something. Feel at home. So we're about to start in a few minutes, but if you need some energy and you need to energize, there is some coffee, tea, water, juice, and you can go and have a good meal before we start. Thank you.
Check mic. 1, 2. Yes, you go. Yes, you go. Check mic. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Check mic. 1, 2. 1, 2. Check mic. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Yes, here go. 1, 2. Yes, here go.
Well, good morning to you all. This is another quick announcement. I'd love to remind everyone, if you haven't taken your COVID test, we are having a place, actually, if you just go upstairs in Kilimanjaro, you'll get where they are doing the COVID tests. I understand some of us have done it, but you need to check if it's at least 48 hours valid. In the meantime, please, you're welcome. Feel free, and remember, there is some coffee, there is some tea, good snacks you can start with. But in the meantime, thank you very much for coming in. We are about to start in a few minutes. It's just that we want everyone to first get something to eat, grab something so that we can start this off with the same energy. In the meantime, I'm going to be introducing a band. It's a beautiful band that is going to take us through this day. And they are young, fresh guys from Atranda, Ubuhanzi. They will be coming on stage in a few minutes to just give us the rhythm of the day. In the meantime, thank you for coming.
Moi tout petit, c'est vous-même que m'avez choisi. Son belle mélodie qui fait me sentir mon paradis. Tant pis, dis-moi l'enfrédit. Tant pis, fais-moi cadeau qui sourit. C'est pas pour date, ma fille chanter pour vous. C'est pas pour date, ma fille rêver de vous.
Slightly hungover, slightly hungover you. Slightly hungover, slightly hungover you. I'd be lying, baby, if I said it wasn't true. Slightly hungover, maybe slightly blue. Slightly hungover, maybe slightly blue. I never had the blues, baby, before I met you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we get to connect and network and just say hi to each other, I'd love to have Atranda Ubuhanzi give us the rhythm, give us the music that is going to be helping us in this moment. Feel free, remember there is some snacks and coffee just outside here. You can actually join us. And as we're about to begin in just about 6 minutes, Atranda, the floor is all yours.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try.
no hell below us, above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine all, there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or to fall. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us, and the world will be mine. You may say I'm a dreamer, ooh, oh, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us, and the world will be mine. You may say I'm a dreamer, ooh, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us, ooh, and the world will be as one.
Gentlemen, have you ever started your music before? Good morning to you. How are you? That's on the energy and good coffee and breakfast. Good morning. How are you? Let me be honest with you. If you're starting with this energy now, how are you ending? Let's do this one more time. Good morning. How are you? Now look at your neighbor and just smile at them. You know, people miss seeing a smile. Just a smile. And look at them, tell them you look amazing. Please do that. Tell your neighbor, thank you for telling me. After doing that, this is what you're going to say. Ask them, hello, what's your name? My name is so to get to know each other. I need to know each other, but let's just do it for formality. Let's do it. Let's have the conversations going. You can ask me, hello, how are you? Okay, my name is Arthur. What's your name? Okay, I will get that. Okay, I'll get that. All right, thank you very much. Thank you. I think, okay, this table is taking the assignment very serious. Amazing. I love the languages. There is French here, there is English, Kinyarwanda. This is beautiful. All right. Thank you very much. Hello, my name is Arthur, and I'm the host of today. For some of you, you might know why we are here, but you don't really know why we are here. Because if you knew, you wouldn't come. Right? I assume if you knew, you wouldn't come. I'm right, right? All right, so today we are here to understand on how we can be involved, stakeholders. How can we be involved in movement of promoting the youth, supporting the youth? And YouthConnekt Africa, it's a Pan-African initiative, and it's been supporting different initiatives. And for some of you might know the YouthConnekt Summit. Do we know it? Anybody know the YouthConnekt Summit? Amazing. We've had one that happened at 2021 was in Ghana. For those of you who remember, it was hosted by Her Excellency, His Excellency President Nana. And it's where it's happening there. Who wants to guess? Are you excited? Yes. Oh, I love the energy you have. Now it's happening at Rwanda, and we are going to understand how can we as partners be part of, how can we be involved, how can we see some collaborations and some scientists we can tap into, especially some of the activities by the Youth Africa and some of the US organizations. I can see partners from UNFPA. I think I can the minister, she's with us here today. I can see some partners from UNDP. I think I also saw Jasmine Bumbuzi. I think if I'm I'm right. Yes, you know, these masks are terrible. Recently, a thief entered. I know it doesn't connect with YouthConnekt, but it's a story. This thief entered someone's home and stole everything. The police came and asked the owner, "Did you see the thief?" The owner was like, "No, he was wearing a mask." Well, at least he didn't want to leave Corona. I'll take it. But we need to really connect, and that's why I'm starting with loosen up vibe, so that you feel like you left your offices at your office, right? Here, we are here to connect. And we are going to get more information about today. And for those of you who want to get more details, I'm going to be introducing a panel discussion. It's going to be the first thing here, because we need more information. We need to know how can we support the youth. As you can see, it's the resilient youth, the resilient Africa. How can we achieve that? To understand better the rationale of this initiative, allow me to see Inebe, and she is an amazing moderator. You can imagine, I'm not even the one who's going to moderate it. She's going to be taking it on. She's a professional moderator, and I love you to welcome her of the morning. She texted, she's going to be taking us through the conversations, and she will all introduce the panelists. Casey, the floor is all yours. I hope you've had enough coffee. There is a lot of energy going on stage. All right, thank you very much. I'll be back in a few minutes.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Faso, Kenya, Zimbabwe, the one UN resident coordinator, the UDP deputy representative, distinguished partners in the youth development space. Good morning once again. I am pleased to engage with a panel of distinguished champions who represent the stakeholders that YouthConnekt Africa serves to bring together to improve youth economic development across Africa. Now, to introduce the panelists present here today, there's a big rationale why each one of the panelists are here. It brings together youth as well as the stakeholders that have a big role in ensuring that we have the right resources, the platforms to bring us to our true development, to see us live out our potential. And our panel is consisting of every single one of the team members make youth's dreams come true. The first one is an entrepreneur, Mr. Emmanuel Tuyisenje. Welcome to the stage, Mr. Emmanuel of Tim Builders. We also have policymakers on our panel, represented here by Mr. Roy Pelewa Siska, the Chief Executive Officer of the Kenya National Youth Council, as well as champions for youth development who are contributing distinctly to the cause, Ms. Geraldine Mutesi of Imbuto Foundation, an organization which has dedicated the last 20 years supporting youth development in Rwanda and continues to grow its impact. And last but not least, Ms. Oanumi Olabusari from One Campaign, which is championing campaign for jobs for Africa. Please, let's give them a round of applause. Just from welcoming them, I hope to one day introduce as they all have a really backgrounds. And to start off today's panel, one thing talking about resilient Africa. As you all know, we have come from a 2-year, almost 3-year pandemic, which has left the African continent. I'm not disappointed because we are a resilient continent. We have emerged stronger, but among the things that make us a resilient continent is the African youth. I would like to write first question to Mr. Roy Sasakatlewa, who is the Chief Executive Officer at the Kenya National Council, whose mission is to enhance youth capacity, participation, social, political, and security through strategic consultations, engagements, and partnerships. Mr. Telwa, an important part of effecting such a mission is enabling youth to engage with institutions and organizations, not only facilitate open dialogue about our challenges, but also support voicing concerns to seekers who put in place mechanisms that help us create solutions for the youth and by the youth. My question to you is, as an institution that actively engages with the youth, why is it important to bridge the gap between youth and policymakers? Please share some examples of how this principle has impacted how the National Youth Council in Kenya is able to achieve its mandate. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jesse. Good morning once again, leaders. Hey, there's energy in the room. Good morning. Can we have some energy? Thank you so much, Your Excellencies, and the fellow leaders, and all protocol observed. I'm happy to be part of this discussion, just start off and just share my insights. Casey has been very categorical that I also share practical examples, and I'll be very quick to share that as well, so that we can walk this journey together. In Kenya, for instance, when you talk about the policymakers and the young people, what is the role of young people, and where are we when it comes to creating solutions to the young people? I would want to say that we've learned our lessons as a country. We've learned our lessons. We've learned our lessons from making policies that we believe are so good, and we wait 10 years to review those policies. Nothing's been done. And we ask ourselves, what are we reviewing? What is it that we're evaluating in terms of success from the policy? Then where did the rain start beating us? And how do we go about it? And one of such policies was the Kenya Youth Development Policy. The Kenya Youth Policy that was there before. When the Kenya policy was being reviewed after 10 years, we realized that there's some fundamental things that the policy had envisioned that were never realized. And when we started now the process of reviewing our policy, we started asking ourselves the questions: what went wrong? Where was the gap? And that is where we realized that as we review our policy, for creating and designing these policies with young people is very critical. And that is one of the segments that we left out. Policymakers up here, hill, and we have the beneficiaries of the policies down here. And there is a disconnect where you feel the policies are so good, but you're not realizing the visions of the policy. And that is some of the things that we tried to actually address when you look at the Kenya Youth Development Policy of 2019 that the president assented to. We changed it. When the process of implementation quickly was, we had a well-designed policy in place. Then we ask ourselves, will we not enter into the same gap that were there before? So we redesigned that, and we had young people are actually engaged in the policy formulation. And when I say engaging young people, there is a profound conviction to engaging young people. And it's not just a matter of when in the policy formulation, once you've done the policy in the boardroom and then you call young people in the room like this, from different areas, and you tell them, are you a policy at the policy validation stage? And then they say yes. And then you say, we actually included. I think we need to move away from that kind of including young people to a point where we are saying young people should be involved from the co-creation, from the initial stage, because they bring a lot of innovation, they bring a lot of ideas, they bring a lot of ownership of the policy. Because once the young people are involved from the beginning, you not only achieve policy ownership, you achieve policy sustainability. Africa's sustainable development goals. One of the key issues we are struggling with is how do we ensure sustainability in the programs that we are coming in. So when you involve young people from the beginning, leaders, my fellow leaders, we are achieving two things at the same time. We are achieving sustainability and we are achieving policy ownership. And this is what it has resulted to. When you look at now, when we went a step further in cascading policy in our countries, here we have national government, we government. So when we did that and we involved young people, my fellow young leaders, that so accountability of those policies. Now you don't have young people, but they are actually engaging you in giving solutions, and that is something that we really need to be keener, because for a long time, when you look at young people and you look at demographic factors around, the majority of Africa is actually on average 60%. So when you're even looking at being sensitive, what my colleague calls demographic sensitivity, when you're looking at being sensitive to demography, it also requires you to make sure that those young people are at the center of policy formulation. So if we're able to achieve those three in our policies, we achieve, and I'll give a case in point. We were following one of now we policies we had the Tana River policy. We had young people involved in creating policy. And at the point of implementing the policy, there are the very young people who are saying, but we suggested this in the policy. Like one of the structures we suggested was representation of young people. So the young people are holding the governance and the leadership in place and saying, we in the policy, why is it not being in place? Can we have it? So also accountability of leadership by the young people. So the young people have a basis, they have a basis to engage. That is very profound. We don't only just want young people at a tactical level or just as a tick the box, but let's involve young people from the onset of the policy formulation, and you'll achieve a sustainably policy that will ensure sustainable development in Africa. And that's what we're doing in Kenya. And I would want to engage my fellow leaders, come and let's do this so that for a very long time, we stop having young people complaining. Everywhere you're meeting young people ministers, they're complaining, they're not at the decision table. But the simplest way to have young people on the decision table is to have them involved in co-creating their own policies. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Talawa. That was a very insightful intervention. And what I'm gathering from this is a call to action from Mr. Talawa himself, but I think from a very great example of the National Youth Council in Kenya, calling on us as Rwandan neighbors to one day visit the Kenya National Council to also see how it is that you realize these policies, so that we may also see the way that we can put our own Rwandan twist to them. And to that, the most important things that I've taken from your intervention is policy ownership and sustainability. And the way to achieve solutions for the youth by the youth is to engage them in how they believe they can solve their own problems. Now, in addition to bridging the gap between the youth and policymakers, an important part of ensuring as the youth our needs are met and catered to is through interventions that equip them with the knowledge and skills that allow them to thrive in their communities. And to share insights with us on this is our second panelist. Ms. Geraldine Umutisi is the Deputy Director General at Imbuto Foundation. Established by the First Lady of Rwanda, Her Excellency Ms. Jeannette Kagame, Imbuto Foundation is a non-governmental organization that has over the years emerged as a trusted and committed partner of choice for the nation's development. With 20 years of lessons learned from engaging, educating, and empowering Rwandans, Imbuto Foundation seeks to leverage its networks to foster greater collaboration in the ecosystem within which it operates. Ms. Kisi, at Imbuto, what is the role of ecosystem building in enabling a thriving youth empowerment ecosystem?
Thank you so much, Kesi. Good morning, everyone, honorable ministers, dear UN family members, dear stakeholders who came from far to be here in Rwanda. Good morning. I'm delighted to be here, and I'm very happy that my brother Roy really set the tone of engaging young people. I'm coming from a foundation, as Casey said, that is called Imbuto Foundation. In our language, Imbuto means a seed. This is a philosophy we inherited from Her Excellency, the First Lady of Rwanda, Mrs. Jeannette Kagame, that a seed well planted, watered, nurtured, and given all the necessary requirements, grew into a very strong tree that is really giant. I'm very happy this morning when I was at the breakfast. I met my colleagues from Ghana, from Kenya, and it was really amazing to see how we continue to be connected. We were together last year in 2021 in YouthConnekt Africa, Ghana. So we welcome everyone here. Here is your home, and feel at home. As Casey said, Imbuto Foundation tried to connect the young people with the policymakers and trying to give them platform to share their ideas. But before I talk about ecosystems, dear Casey, allow me to talk about the word resilience. Because as an African proverb said, after a long night, a dawn is born. Here in Rwanda, we had a long night, a very bad night. In 1994, we lost over 1 million, and we started from the ashes. But when the genocide stopped, the only button we could push was the word resilience. And we had to build resilience in young people because the liberators of this country were young people too. And that shows how they can be engaged, moving from the policies, moving from the strategies to make things happen. Imbuto Foundation also provided platform to young people to, first of all, understanding their national identity. Whatever we are doing in entrepreneurship, economic empowerment, if our young people are not really connected to their nations, I don't think that the policies will be feasible. And as my brother said, they are engaged because they understand their nations. They understand their contribution to the nation. And this is really a very good example of what our president started in YouthConnekt Rwanda, which helped us to be here now and inspired everyone to have the YouthConnekt Africa. And we are really very happy that this is happening, and we hope that it's going to be sustainable. So coming back to what you are saying, the ecosystem should not be just one sector, just one program. At the foundation, we are looking at the holistic model of empowering young people to become resilient. So we have also the resilient Africa we want. To build that resilience, you need to think from the early childhood development to adolescenthood, to have really strong young people who have mind, who have brain, who are very smart, who have a very strong spirit to the Africa. But they can have all of that, but if they are not economically empowered, they may not really achieve the results. Of course, when you are building ecosystem, at the foundation, as I said, we have that philosophy that is, we are always bringing like a garden. When you have a garden, you have to make sure that you have all the necessary requirements. And if we have these young people as the seeds, we need to invest in the growing of that seed. So we don't work in silos. We realize that collaboration is very key. That's why we appreciate all the partners involved in the YouthConnekt and also in our programs. We can't operate as a civil society organization alone. We need the government. We need development partners. That's why we have the UN family, the UNDP. We have also COICA in Rwanda. And we have to have young people as the first stakeholders. If they don't accept to be engaged, we cannot achieve more. So the ecosystem should also be adapted to each country background. Because if what we have in Rwanda can inspire other countries, but it has to be adapted to the country context. And it has to be adapted to the country culture. We end by always thinking about, if we want to talk about ecosystem, how can we leverage the collaboration and connection between the African countries to build resilient youth, to raise resilient youth who are really active citizens for a resilient Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Umetesi. I think the concluding statement was, how can we leverage our collaboration to ensure that every member of the ecosystem is helping or playing their role in ensuring that we have a resilient youth and in turn a resilient Africa. As I go through each one of the panelists, I realize that their interventions are painting a picture for the ideal Africa that we'd like, the ideal youth that we have. The first point was bridging the gap between youth and policymakers, youth sitting at the table that is drafting solutions for their own problems. And the second step to having them sitting at the table is also making sure that they are being invested in, that they are receiving the right skills, that they are receiving the right knowledge. And where that isn't enough, those that have allowed them to be at the table also call in the stakeholders that ensure that their knowledge and their skills are put to use in terms of platforms, of finances, and so on and so forth. And equipping youth with skills and knowledge allows them to come up with innovative solutions, like I said, to the problems that affect them on a day-to-day basis. Our next panelist is Ms. Owalumi Olafusari. Ms. Owalumi is a policy officer on the global policy team at the One Campaign based in Johannesburg. The One Campaign is the global movement that aims to end extreme poverty and preventable disease by 2030, so that everyone, everywhere can lead a life of dignity and opportunity. And one of the ways that the One Campaign is doing this is having a campaign for jobs for Africa. Ms. Owalumi, why should Africa focus on creation of jobs, and what role does the One Campaign, play in this as one of the various stakeholders?
For having me today. I think really 3 points why we need to focus on it. The first is that it is in alignment with the priorities of Africa. So, you know, job creation is the most important challenge as cited by Afrobarometer survey found that above education, above education and above health, the issue that people thought that most Africans across 34 countries thought was most important for their government to address was job creation. The second reason is that it's a matter of urgency for Africa's youth. And as my brother mentioned, the youth are a majority of our continent, and they are not just our future; they are our present, and they matter now. Between now and 2030, 120 million African youth are going to enter the workforce. We need to create about 15 million jobs per year in order to really harness their potential. And jobs, you know, it's not just a matter of having a job, it's a matter of having a decent job. So we need to create decent work opportunities for these youth. This means that they have fair wages. This means that they are secure at work. This means that they have workplace safety. This means that they have social protection so that they can be resilient. And you know, work is not just about earning an income. I mean, for sure, that's very necessary, and it allows you access to different goods and services that help you enhance your well-being. But having a job or having a meaningful and decent work opportunity is also about feeling that you're a contributing member of our society. It's about self-actualization and realizing your potential, developing your abilities and being able to showcase that. And that's what we want for our youth. The third reason is that it is key to resilience. So before COVID hit, already 1/3 of working Africans were living in extreme poverty. So that's below the $1.90 per day line. And what that means is when COVID hit, so many people fell into extreme poverty or deeper into poverty, right? They weren't able to, when you're earning so little, you're not able to save for a rainy day. You're not able to protect yourself, especially in many of our countries where the social safety nets are lacking and there are many gaps. And so when we call for decent jobs, we are also calling to make ourselves more resilient. So we've seen now with COVID why it's so important for people to be earning a living wage. We've seen now with COVID why it's important for there to be social protection. Most Africans are employed in the informal sector, which is often not regulated, so that their safety is not taken into consideration, their health at work is not taken into consideration, and they don't have access to healthcare, many people. So that is very important. The other point of resilience is we're seeing now with Russia's invasion of Ukraine, you know, food prices skyrocketing across Africa. So a living wage is really important so that people can afford to feed themselves in a world where the cost of living is rising. So again, the 3 points are: it's a priority for most Africans, it is top of mind. Number 2 is that it is an urgent matter. It's a now problem, not a future problem. African youth are the majority today. Africa's youth are our continent. And number 3, that it is key to Africa's resilience. And then to your second question about one's role in this landscape. I think that our role as an advocacy campaign is to convene those those organizations that are already working on this. So organizations like YouthConnekt, organizations at the community level, as well as policymakers, business, civil society. There are people who are working on these issues every single day. And I think our role is to convene them together to better understand what their needs are, what their objectives are, to align and coordinate their efforts so that there is less duplication and they can be more effective. And then our second point, value add, is about mobilizing the youth behind these objectives and then amplifying the work of these organizations. And then the last thing is really to hold actors to account for the things that they have said they will do. And that is really at the center of our new Jobs Now Africa campaign. We have a website, jobsnowafrica.org, where you can see the objectives of the campaign and also our People's Charter. The campaign was co-created and launched in coalition with the Pan-African Coalition of organizations, including YouthConnekt Africa, different youth organizations across 7 countries. We had multi-stakeholder consultations that informed the charter. So to what my brother was saying, this was co-created from the ground up. Youth had a say from the beginning. And the charter is really calling for 4 things, which is for governments to focus on creating decent jobs by driving investment, especially in this post-COVID recovery period, towards job-rich sectors. So we're talking agriculture, we're talking the green economy, right? We want sustainable development. We want growth with jobs, not jobless growth. Number 2 is to facilitate the ease of doing business, because self-employment is also an option. And Africans are so entrepreneurial. I don't think I have to tell anybody in the room this, but they need support. And support looks like less power cuts. It looks like access to water. So not only do we need ease of doing business so that it's easier for youth to implement their ideas, we also need the infrastructure that's going to enable them to be successful. Third is to really harness youth potential and secure jobs for future generations. So we need to future-proof our growth. We need to think about the fact that the world is moving towards net zero. And so we need to create jobs that are going to still be here in 25 years, right? We can lead on that. And we also need to embrace digitalization. There is so much that internet access can do for people. And I think COVID and having to work remotely has really shown us that. Now, you don't have to be in America to work for Amazon, okay? You can work from Amazon from Lekki, in Nigeria. You can work from Accra in Ghana. You don't have to leave your house. So we need digitalization so people can have access to those opportunities, can gain those skills and be able to work from wherever they are. This is particularly important for women who often, because of their roles in society, are limited in the options that they have, or are time poor in terms of the fact that they have to also care for their families. The fourth thing is to ensure the safety and dignity in employment. So we want safe and dignified employment. I think that as a young continent, it's really up to us to lead the rest of the world, to show what is possible. I always go back to Thomas Sankara, who said that we have to dare to invent the future. That is our role as Africans, is to show the world that we are able to do things differently, to showcase that innovation. And then the last point I'll mention as part of the charter is that we're calling for openness, transparency, and accountability. So enough of setting these policies in 2015 and an action plan and only revisiting them and seeing whether they work 10 years later. Rather, let's have continuous monitoring, let's have continuous tracking, and let's be able to hold stakeholders to account in the present. So that's just how one is going about this right now. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I think in a world where the Mr. the sectors of the world and this city have tables where the youth are engaged in policy making and interventions and ecosystems that nurture them, the one campaign is their accountability partner. I think that if I was an organization that made mandates or that made policies that ensured sustainability but did not come to them or did not come to realize them, the one campaign would be my worst nightmare, but also the greatest thing to have because they ensure that what these institutions and what these organizations and stakeholders promise to the youth, they actually are able to deliver on. And this leads us into the second portion of our panel, where now we're talking about job creation. I think one thing to always remember is when we mention the need for job creation, an important part and I think a most sustainable part of creating jobs is ensuring that the youth are able to create these jobs for themselves. And on our panel is a very inspiring and accomplished entrepreneur, Mr. Emmanuel Tuisenje, who is the founder and chief executive of Temako Builders, a Rwandan company that specializes in the manufacturing of concrete construction materials. And when starting Temako Builders, Mr. Tuisenje was among the first people to venture into the production of concrete construction materials in Rwanda, taking a page out of the risk-taking book, choosing to be an entrepreneur and being one of the very first in the field that he chose to venture in had to be quite the journey. Mr. Tuisenje, using your story as an example, how would you say entrepreneurship emerged as a pathway for young people to create a dignified and decent living?
Thank you, Casey. In entrepreneurship is a journey that is not simple. I'm environmental chemist by my education background, but I ventured into construction. The idea originated from a trip, an exchange program that I had outside of Rwanda. And there was inspiration talks about entrepreneurship. We young African, we have to create jobs. I remember that time they told us that the only solution that we can do is to create something that will inspire other people. I remember when I come back home that time, I say, let me just try to look on things that I found developed in that country that can just bring on the market. One of them was the concrete industry. When I come back in Rwanda, I wasn't have any knowledge about the industry. So I have to learn. I have to look for other companies that are doing the same. But my question was, why other people are doing better than what we have in Rwanda? So that was the main problem. And according to what I believe, when there is a resource and a problem, it means there is opportunity. So I said, why not can I just kick and start something? It wasn't an easy journey because I decided to join a company that was doing quite the same product, but in a very local way. And my entry point was to start as the lowest staff. So I was a helper. So I was only gaining around $3 to $4 a day. So it was not easy from someone who had a bachelor degree from a recognized university. But I believe that if you want to start something, we need to learn. So I learned, and I tried to even collaborate with the company, showing them something that they can improve, but in vain. So I say, it's my time to start a business. For me, when I started, a success was not a goal. My goal was only to start. And I take a decision to start. But when you start a business, you think that the road will be safe, but there will not be challenges. At the beginning, I found that challenges and setbacks are like breakfast in the morning. I was not having any specific skills to hire, to attract, or even to convince the customers. So all those was challenges. But as Ms. Geraldine said, we are lucky to be in a country, in a good environment. We are seeds that are well treated. So there was a lot of opportunity around that help us to start a business and grow. I can just say that when you start in the industry, you don't have any education background, you get a problem by convincing customers. You can do products, but even convincing some people to buy from you, it's a challenge. I was lucky to have some mentorship organization that we approach them and then say, we can do products, but we can't even sign a contract. We can't even drop anything. I know something, I know what to do. I have connection. I have mentors outside that can provide like technical skills, but the problem, how can I know who to hire? How can I know how to approach the market, how to design something that will make profit? And one of the organizations that provide the coaching and mentorship support was Inkomoko. They just help us to even draft a business plan. And I can say that when you start in an environment that provide the support to the young people, the only problem will be that the young generation, because everything is there. It's up to us to say, let's focus on what you want. Let's focus on our dream, and then the people to support us are available. I remember from whoever you can ask when you start a business, fund is a problem. So, but you can't access the fund if you don't have a coach. So once you have a coach, once you have someone to mentor you, to show you how to draft or write something, there is banks that can provide the loan or just other funding resources. But the problem, once everything is there, will be collateral. When you're young or you start a business, you don't have a backup. So it's you and your idea. And the value of an idea, if you're not yet on the market, is zero. So we were lucky to have like BDF, one business development fund, to come and pat on the back and just allow us to access the fund. There's something that I used to say, we become entrepreneurs not the day we start a business, but the day people they get to know us. Because there is a journey people they don't understand, they can't comprehend. When I started business, I believe that it depends on my thought. I have to start and keep going, because I'm going to be recognizable once I cross that finish line, if I can say so. So there are phases when we internalize failure, when we don't talk things that keeps us, the setbacks. But when you have like a good environment, people are there to tap on the back, it helps us to move forward. So what I can say, the journey of entrepreneurship is not an easy journey, but if you are a seed that is well treated, why not you can just have that step. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bisenja. I think even though this is just a panel and we only have so much time, his story in the very few words that he was able to share with us gives us an insight on some of the things that he went through, but that I'm sure so many other people have gone through when starting their own businesses or having an idea to venture into the world of entrepreneurship. And among the many things that come as challenges are not having anyone to guide you or not really knowing where to start. Because it's one thing for the youth to choose to take the risk to go out into this world on their own. But as stakeholders present here today, I think at the end of this panel, we realize that it's one thing for them to take the first step, but it's also another thing for stakeholders to take another step towards them and to help them and meet them halfway to see what it is exactly that they need that stakeholders can be able to provide for them. Among those things, as Ms. Oalumi mentioned, was services, the basic necessities, having access to certain amenities. And I'd like to direct my second question to Mr. Roy. A big concern amongst stakeholders regarding um, uh, the topics that we've been discussing today is meeting the gap between demand and supply for services to the youth. How do we leverage partnerships to meet the financial gap for support to youth empowerment programs? And how is this done at the Kenya National Youth Council?
So that's it. I'd want to start answering that question with a practical case that we had in Kenya. As government, we said we envisioned and we put in place that we need to have our young people undertake internship. So there was an internship policy, and it was very ambitious that in a year we should do around 100,000 young people go through the program. So everything went, approvals, then we started the program. Then we realized along the way, even for us to realize the numbers that we had anticipated is a challenge as a government. We cannot do it alone. And this is an entire government. We've put it on paper, but it cannot be realized. So we realized we need to relook at the model. And that is when we realized that for any policy, for any program, for anything to happen, we need to have what we call a coordinated approach. A coordinated approach where when I look around this room, I see the UN, I see the civil society, I see regional organizations like Pan-African Youth Union, ASU and all that. And what this does is actually, it is a shared responsibility where the government comes up with policies, of course, with the co-creation of the young people. And then we have all the private sector come on board to share this responsibility. That is the only way we will achieve some of these aspirations that we have, including Jobs Now Africa. If we only say that one agency like government should take it and run away with it, it is never feasible. And that is also will be my call to action. That in Kenya, we realized that there was a lot of replication. This policy is being done by, supported by UNFPA in this area. We have the same replication of another agency doing the same thing at the same, and we are utilizing resources of which will achieve some of these aspirations that we have, including Jobs Now Africa. If we only say that, so if you needed, thank you, I think the DJ is telling me to slow down. So, so if we need to achieve this, we are saying that it's not a responsibility for government alone. And I'm sure the minister, honorable ministers in the room will tell you that it is sometimes as government, we are very ambitious, but unless we call all the stakeholders in the table, and unless we also bring the young people who are the majority of the table, and we share these responsibilities, it will just be a good vision, a good policy that will get dust, and after 10 years, we will still go back and say, where did the rain start beating us? So my call to action is, let's have a coordinated approach. And for us just to realize that, we've even included it in some of the policies, where we say, whatever it is, this is the young people aspirations. This is the Kenya Youth Development Policy. Who are the stakeholders in this policy? So the government just becomes one of the stakeholders, but we have all the stakeholders on the table, and then we share. Even in terms of evaluating the achievements, we don't just have one actor saying, this is how far the policy has been implemented, but we have shared responsibility. And beyond that, and I'm sure now when you're talking about Africa, we are looking at job creation. When you look at job creation, even as Kenya, we've tried as a country, as National Youth Council, we've done advocacy, but there's a level where you can reach as government until you bring the private sector, like for the internship and policies, until we say, okay, look here, guys, we need to bring the private sector on board. We need to bring all other stakeholders. That is when things started making sense. That is when we started realizing impact. So for me, as we advocate for young people, as we advocate for policies, let's advocate also for a coordinated approach in the ecosystem. And then two, also funding. Let's not have disjointed efforts in terms of funding. We have this one, and this we realized after doing an evaluation. We have this program in this area. Next time, there's another, the same program in the same area. Yet we have other needy areas or counties that have not enjoyed the benefits of that. So then the discounted small units don't add up to an impact. So again, that will be our rallying call. That instead of doing small, disjointed, let's all of us be coordinated. And this is why I think YouthConnekt Africa exists. That is why our regional, and I can see my SG here, that is why our regional organizations exist, to make sure that we provide a safe space where we as leaders, we can all meet and have a discussion on the same issues that are affecting us and give solutions that now will realize impact.
Thank you very much. As Mr. Roy has mentioned, a little can go a long way. Everyone always needs a helping hand. The government alone cannot achieve all of these things. It's through sustained collaboration and partnership that we are able to realize some of our mandates. Among the other pressing issues that we were mentioning in the need for creation of jobs is the creative economy. The creative economy is an emerging economy that can contribute to a lot of our different countries' overall economies. And the problem isn't that the creative economy doesn't exist; it's that maybe it hasn't received enough support or helping hands to be able to flourish into what it can really be. And to tell us more about the importance of investing in the creative industry and how it can reap benefits not only for the youth but for countries at large is the second question that I have for Ms. Umutesi. Imbuto has since 2018 invested in developing the capacities of young creatives and advocating for art and culture to take their rightful place with different spaces. Why is it important for Africa to invest in its emerging creative industry that is mostly led by youth?
Thank you so much, Casey. I think as my sister Ola said, something that can really help young people to be resilient is also to have a decent job. In Rwanda, we have a national strategy for transformation that is built on 3 pillars: the economic transformation, the social transformation, and governance transformation. We needed as a country to think out of the box because we have to create jobs. We have to work with young people to co-create jobs, decent jobs. And as Africa, as a continent, as a nation, we are rich in our creative industry and culture. And we had to think about how can we engage young people in cultural and creative industry. This is how we started an initiative in collaboration with the Ministry of Youth and Culture, UN, and COICA to make sure that we invest in cultural and creative industry. I think you enjoyed a very nice music this morning. Can we give a round of applause to these young people? These young people came for different sessions of auditions. We went through auditions, selection, so and we came up with over 60 artists who went for the incubation program. As you said that, as Emmanuel said, you need someone who gives you a hand, who give you, who show you how can you do that and how can you sustain the gains of what you're doing. So this is a kind of a program that we did. And I will give you an example of one lady who is called Grace, who is a fashion artist. She couldn't really work. She couldn't really put her dream into action. But when she joined the Art Rwanda Ubuhanzi, and this is how the program is called, she managed to learn skills, understanding how she can be connected to different markets. And today she's able to hire 12 staff and making sure that she's also supporting her family. I will not forget about, this is not only the creative industry, but how do you engage young people to find innovative solutions? We had an initiative with the UNFPA Rwanda, which is called Innovation Accelerator Program. that engaged young people to find solution around mental health and adolescent sexual reproductive health. And in that, they also try to bring in the talents. If we invest, if we look at all the African countries, we are very rich in our culture. How can we make that as a business? How can we make that as an earning, income earning source of earning? But in addition to that, everyone needs to be trusted, as Emmanuel said. When we started the Youth Empowerment Program in 2007, Her Excellency, the First Lady of Rwanda, told the partners, trust in young people, put trust in young people. So that trust you are bringing in, if you give a young person 10,000 US dollars, like how we are doing with UNFPA, they can go and amplify that little money, little amount into a really bigger solution. And this is not about money. It's about empowering families, empowering also the economy of the country. If really we trust them, they are going to show us the benefits we are looking for. And allow me also to talk about something very important. We need to engage philanthropy. In Africa, we have many people. We have people who want to invest, but they need strong policies. They need collaboration, and they need a coordinated approach, as you said. Also, we need to think about, because these are young people, and we need to think about a mentorship program. We need to think about how do we help them to prioritize what to start with and what to end with. And most importantly, the sustainability aspect. I think we also talk about the trust of the leaders. When you put the trust in young people as a leader, it helps them to really move very, very far. I remember a quote from His Excellency Paul Kagame, our president. When we celebrated 25 years of the liberation of our nation, he said, to the young people, over to you. If a president tells you over to you, that means that there's that trust, you can go very far. So, but allow me to also tell the young people in the room, just have ideas and develop ideas and trust yourself. But you have to be patient, because when you are investing in creative industry, for example, as an example, you don't have to think that you're going to have income immediately. So it's a long way process of investment, and the patience you're going to put in is going to help you to gain more. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. While mentioning the importance of making sure that the youth have the right resources and that they have the right mentorship through these programs that organizations such as Imbuto Foundation is able to put in place, I also realized that while some of the youth today might benefit from these resources, certain people like Mr. Tuisenye did not maybe have as many at their disposition when they were starting their entrepreneurship journey. Mr. Tuisenye, you did mention Inhomoko and BDF as some of the organizations that sort of helped you when it comes to drafting a business plan, to give you a bit of insight on what to do, where to start. But I'm sure there are many more things that maybe would have helped you start out your journey a little better or reach success a little faster, and to know what things would have been important for you? Because if you did not get to access them, the trend should be that those that come after you should be able to access them. It shouldn't always remain the same. And so my question to you is, what should policy and decision makers avail to enable youth entrepreneurship?
Thank you. I didn't mention that I fed for almost 2 years before I even reached to them. So what I'm thinking is when we push people to start business, they can easily learn from their mistake. Because I'm going to give you an example. For me, if I want to hire someone, I don't look for technical skills. I look for commitment and discipline, because I can just even train them. And then once they are trained, they don't stay in my company as an employee. They just feel like a family. So for me, what I'm thinking that policymakers, they have to take on is to sometimes to not to copy, because most of the time we just got inspired from the Western countries that have an entrepreneurship industry that is there for long. So they need to adapt or accommodate something that is based on they have to look or pay attention to the diversity, freedom, and even the environment itself. Because there are some, in some cases, there are some policies that not really help young entrepreneurs, but frustrate them. Because if you want to start a business, I can't start with 10 billion. I have to start from scratch. Even Amazon or Facebook, or they start from the garage. So it should be the same as here. So we need some policies that help people start. Because once someone started, it's quite a motivation, because you can't quit if you've started from scratch. You learn from the things that you're not doing well and grow. So for me, what I can just request from the policymakers, let's create problem solvers. So let's create entrepreneurs that provide the data. So we don't have to resource some data from outside. We can just start and provide those data. So we can rely on those data that was acquired from someone who started from the scratch to set policies. And as Mr. Roy said, there are some other small disjointed funding. For me, I find it a little bit weird if, for instance, you give someone $1,000 and he has to invest and make a lot of money. Sometimes he wastes that money. So it's become like a useless effort. So it's better to think, how can I support someone to grow? Because if we need to find some dignified jobs or decent employment, we need to look far, not giving someone $2,000 and then think that he's going to use that money to make a billion company. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think having this panel, the purpose was to discuss resilient youth and resilient Africa. But I think, and from my own perspective, having to follow this panel, it gives a lot of perspective into why exactly this stakeholders meeting is happening today, which is to hear from some of the representatives of institutions, organizations, individuals who need your help. Those that are in the audience, I'm sure that everyone, let it be members from non-governmental organizations that have been looking to partner with policymakers to see how they can make their interventions more effective by scaling them to the country. Maybe there are entrepreneurs that are in the room who have been trying to figure out who should they connect with in order to ensure that their business opportunities are profitable. At the end of the day, as Miss Olaumi mentioned, as Africans, we owe ourselves to come together and come up with solutions that are sustainable in the long run. And some of the key points from today's panel discussion are that we are able to do this by, first of all, inviting the youth at the policy drafting table to engage them in letting policymakers know what is the best way to come up with solutions that are made for them, but that also are going to be sustainable in the long run, that the youth can themselves contribute to realizing. The second key point is coming up with interventions that equip youth with knowledge and skills to reach their potential, but also having an ecosystem that supports them to be able to achieve their greatest potential. And third, assessing our progress and collaborating with stakeholders and having organizations such as the One Campaign remind stakeholders of what is truly important. Not only setting these objectives, but also knowing what is necessary to make them come to life and also be long lasting. And fourth, and definitely not least, remembering to trust the youth, to engage them, to have entrepreneurs such as Emmanuel with you at the table when you're drafting a policy to see how he can start his business to truly start well, beyond just financial means. And also remembering to collaborate. I've heard the word collaborate so many times today, and it's not only within these four panelists, but it needs to be a word and also an action that we take into consideration as we conclude the panel. And to conclude it, I'd like to give about 1.5 minutes to each panelist for a concluding statement and anything that they'd like to share with the audience at large.
Thank you so much. I think we need young people who have a strong mindset, who are healthy, and who are really connected to our nation, so that we can really build a resilient youth and a resilient Africa, and it's possible.
Thank you so much, Casey. For me, as Africa, we are doing well. We are on the right track. We have good policies, just to say, including even the AU Agenda 2063. When you look around, we have the right framework. So I think my rallying call to our partners, and I think I want to thank Iti for the unique mixture of partners. We have the UN, the private sector, and all that. Mine is just a challenge to us, that this is not a challenge for governments alone. This is all, when you look at the challenge we're facing in terms of employment, the challenge is not for governments alone, it's for all of us in the room to sit together like the way we are sitting now and actually give solutions. And as we do that, remember that let's be sensitive to the demographic dividend that we have. And those are the young people. As we sit in the room, let's have them. I'm happy that I'm a young person and I'm in this room. I'm happy that I've seen many young people, Peter from ASU and many others, that let's engage these young people so that we can create a young person of Africa that is sustainably empowered.
I would like to share this to my fellow young entrepreneurs, that at every stage of the business, there will always be challenge. I can sit here, but if I don't stay committed, disciplined to my business, maybe next year I will not be here. So we have to keep motivated, disciplined, and committed to our business. Thank you.
I guess my parting words would be to invest in our youth, to see them as the asset that they are in the present, not just the future. And to remember that the function of freedom is to free others. So wherever we are, whether in government, whether in public, whether in private sector, whether in our communities, that our job is to make it easier for people to do the things that we found difficult. So as my brother here said, he got this help and now he's able to help others. He's created jobs, and that's what we should all aim to do. Thank you.
Thank you once again to the panelists for having given us such an insightful conversation. I'd like to thank the audience as well for having paid close attention. While there cannot be any panel discussion without interventions from the panelists, it's also important to hear from our audience. If there are any questions, if there are any comments, if there are any parting words that I believe aren't only for the panel, but that will also be related to the conversations that we're going to have after the panel. Anyone with any interventions or any comments is welcome to present them. We have one question. We'll take that question and we'll conclude the panel.
Hello, my name is Christian. I'm from France. So my question is about, we talk about the youth, but what we know, they don't have the money to perform what we talk about. So what about the financial inclusion that is key for those youth to perform all those promises? Because we start to talk about development and there is no development without financial inclusion. We talk about KYC and stuff like this, and that is an important element of the chain of success. So what about this?
I think that is a very important question that we've had a couple of people address. The first person that I had addressed was Mr. Roy, who had mentioned leveraging partnerships with different stakeholders who are helping with the financial aspect. I think the second person was Mrs. Ola, who had mentioned how the One Campaign brings together organizations with partners, and I'll give over the floor to them to expand on that just a little bit, and we can conclude the panel.
I think what you've raised, sir, is actually a solution to the many challenges we're facing as young people. And that's why, as our moderator has mentioned, that's why we need all the stakeholders in the room. When starting all the way from financing, we look at the discussion around the continent of Africa. How do we make sure that we have affirmative action or funds for our young people? And beyond the affirmative action, what my colleague was saying, how do we also expose our young entrepreneurs to those entrepreneurship opportunities? So yes, what you're saying is very critical. For us to make sure that we have young entrepreneurs like my colleague here, one of the key factors is how do we make sure that they can easily access funding and also the training that comes with it, so that then they can create opportunities for every other young people. And I think that is the discussion we are having today. And I think that will be our takeaway as policymakers here as well. We look back, we do an inward reflection. Like in Kenya, what we are doing, yes, we have affirmative funds. As much as we have big challenges as well, because young people are saying, yes, you guys are asking for collateral. Where do I get collateral as a young person? How do you expect me to have this to qualify for this? Yes, you're saying there are group loans. What about the group dynamics? And how do we defranchise that? And how do we de-risk that? And that, especially for my country, that is the biggest challenge we have. And how we are going about it is, how do we have all our partners on the table again to assist? Because even when you look at the funding itself, it's not enough. When you look at the numbers of young people who are, like for the Kenya Youth Development Fund, when you look at the amount we are issuing out vis-a-vis the demand by the young people, it's like a drop in the ocean. And we as policymakers, that is a realization. So I think, and we are calling upon, of course, stakeholders to come in so that we have a concerted effort towards bringing on board affirmative action funds, so that then our young people, myself, my colleagues included, can benefit from it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Roy. I think that for the sake of time, the best way to do it now is, I'm sure there's a member in the audience who represents organizations that look to invest in the youth with finances and would like to collaborate to answer that question. Would like to know what is the youth looking for, and how can we make sure that they have these finances available for them. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, that closes our panel. Thank you very much. And Arthur, back to you.
A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. That was a very insightful conversation, and we definitely got to learn and understand. And she closed on something that is very, very important. Some of the challenges that are mentioned here, most of us maybe have solutions. We'll have a moment. I think I'll give you a moment whereby we'll get to hear from you as partners. How can you intervene? Do you have initiatives or programs that could actually be solutions? I think we didn't get it that time,
But the whole reason why we are here is to get solutions. Again, not to just talk about challenges, but solutions. So I'll give you a few minutes. I think I'll get that time. If you think you have an initiative or an intervention that could actually come in as a solution, please, we'll be very, very happy to hear from you. And of course, we'll also get to know how we can participate in the upcoming YouthConnekt Africa Summit 2022, which I'm very excited about. It's happening in October, and I hope you are excited. How are you feeling? How are you? Are we still having the energy? Yes? How is the going? You know, when I was still on radio, we used to play a very small game to see how much gas we have in terms of energy. We used to say the word waza until we see who drops out last and is the winner. I understand you are very corporate, but hey, we are all, so that means we are the same. You know, when I'm performing events, those seated at the front are the VIPs, very important people. Important people are in the middle and then people at the back. But this time I understand we are all VIPs. So I want us to try out this game just to release our energy. Is that okay? Okay, now it's very simple. We are going to say the word waza. Then we see who drops out last. Yeah? We try? We try? 5, 6, 7, go. Breakfast, breakfast. Is the winner. You had breakfast. You're from Kenya. Hey, Kenyans are very creative. I'm sure you had a tactic there. Thank you very much. Now, up next, I would love to welcome our executive director of YouthConnekt, and she's going to be giving us her opening remarks so that we also understand the reason why we are here. Allow me to welcome Mrs. Oli Keita to take the stage. Thank you very much. The floor is all yours.
Thank you to our great panelists and the wonderful Casey for starting off on a great note. Resilient youth, resilient Africa. Muramitsi Ministry Nyakubawa Buruburuku. Honorable Minister, you're welcome. The Minister of State of the Ministry of Youth and Culture of Rwanda, the Resident Coordinator of the One UN in Rwanda, Mr. Fodin Diaye, the UNDP Deputy Resident Representative, Madame Varsha, the representative from UNDP Regional Service Center, the country director of COICA joining us virtually, representatives from national governments across Africa. We have about 10 countries represented here today. Excellencies from the diplomatic corps, representatives from all UN agencies, representatives from national youth councils, from international organizations, participants joining us virtually, colleagues from the YouthConnekt Africa Hub, distinguished guests, all protocol observed. Muramutse Kandi Mura Kaza Neza Mwetsi. Good morning to you all and welcome. Bonjour à tous et toutes et soyez la bienvenue. On behalf of the YouthConnekt Africa Hub, I would like to convey our sincere gratitude to all of you for accompanying us in this journey of YouthConnekt Africa Hub from its inception to date. YouthConnekt Africa Hub is a Pan-African organization with the vision of connecting young people to socio-economic transformation. We endeavor to contribute to the demographic dividend on the continent through investments in the youth, whether it be in education, formal or non-formal, empowerment and employment, or entrepreneurship. We call it the Triple E. The mission driven by our governments in Africa through national priorities and policies. Hence, this mission of YouthConnekt is bigger than all of us. Since its launch from a single country in 2012 in Rwanda, we are now operating in 25 countries, including Zimbabwe, Guinea, Ghana, DRC, Liberia, Madagascar, Mali, Burkina Faso, Senegal, Ethiopia, Gambia, Togo, Republic of Congo, Sao Tome and Principe, Cameroon, Uganda, Gabon, Cape Verde, Sierra Leone, Zambia, Mauritania, Chad, Botswana, Niger, and of course, our beautiful Rwanda. Honorable Minister, this is partly due to the great leadership of the government of Rwanda. Nyakuba wa Ministry, Ibi Biterngwa, Nuhu, Hobozi, Biuza, Mbwa Gouvernement, yu Rwanda, Tugomba, Gutumira, Ibi Korza, Mziza, Mbiajes, Goheo. Our goal is to cover all the 55 member states of the African Union by 2025. This expansion effort and scaling up of the YouthConnekt Africa model is made possible thanks to the great partnership between African governments, UNDP, and all the stakeholders. YouthConnekt Africa is based here in Kigali through the support of the government of Rwanda in partnership with UNDP Rwanda, as well as UNDP Regional Service Center. The positive reception and ownership by national governments of the YouthConnekt model is due to its innovative and inclusive approach, bringing governments, UN agencies, international organizations, non-state actors, the private sector, and the young people themselves at the center to provide them with the skills, networks, platforms, information, opportunities, and connecting them to develop their entrepreneurial skills and scale their innovations. YouthConnekt Africa focus on the AAA agenda at the core of our strategy, educating or strengthening the skills of young people, empowering young people to make their own decisions on important matters such as mental health and sexual and reproductive rights, as well as employment, which is all about job creation. As a continental initiative, YouthConnekt Africa has been endorsed by the African Union Executive Council as an implementing partner of the African Union Youth Charter. Hence, we are guided by the vision of the African Union's Agenda 2063, which specifically highlights the potential of the continent's youth as a driving force for sustainable development and inclusive growth. You'll be happy to know that the YouthConnekt Africa Hub has launched several programs across the continent, working closely with national governments, UNDP country offices, and partners. And my colleagues will be doing a presentation to go through all of the activities that we are endeavoring across the continent. I invite you all to enjoy the journey with us today with great exchanges, networking, presentations, cultural performance. But mostly, I would like you all to take a minute to think about how your support is actually contributing to real impact in the lives of young people. The YouthConnekt Africa Hub is not your typical international organization. This is a partnership between governments, civil society organizations, the young people themselves, UNDP, and the private sector. We have the vision, which is bigger, like I said, than all of us. We would like to contribute to the harnessing of the demographic dividend by promoting the right investment in the young people. So your support, your commitment, and your advocacy are connecting young people to our vision. We're trying to connect young people to social economic transformation day by day. Ndabashimira Yakumbuwa Ministry, Nukumuyu Bozi wa YouthConnekt Africa. Thank you for your great support as chair, Honorable Minister of Youth and Culture of Rwanda. Thank you to the UNDP RBA Director, Ahuna, as co-chair. Thank you to you both for your great leadership and commitment in the operationalization of the YouthConnekt Africa Hub. Thank you to all the national governments here present with us today. Thank you to all the partners who have supported YouthConnekt Africa throughout the years,
the young people whom we are trying to serve. All of you private sector, civil society organizations, all the stakeholders who are accompanying us in the process of telling the stories of young Africans. And dear colleagues from the YouthConnekt Africa Hub, thank you for all your commitment and hard work. We look forward to welcoming you, all of you in Kigali for the 5th edition of the YouthConnekt Africa Summit. Murakoze Chane, thank you very much and merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much. And I think she deserves another one for giving a shot to Kinyarwanda, and you did amazing. You know, Kinyarwanda is a very simple language for those of you who, why are you laughing? It is. Let me tell you, do you know that you can communicate in Kinyarwanda without saying a word, just sounds? If someone asks you and you don't understand, you don't have to say, what did you say? Just say, eh? They will know you've asked, I didn't understand. If you understand, you don't have to say, oh, now I understand. You just say, hey. Hey, you are speaking Kinyarwanda. Hey, if you see someone you like pass by, just say, you are speaking Kinyarwanda. Instead of cussing them and do all that, Kinyarwanda, we have one word. You've done it all. That is Kinyarwanda. So I've taught you a little bit of Kinyarwanda, and I hope I've done justice. I'm sure Bamorich is looking at me as like, this one is danger. Well, as she mentioned on how we can get to know the journey of the YouthConnekt Africa Hub, some of the activities and initiatives that are being done across Africa. And also she noted on the upcoming summit that is happening in October. And I'm very, very excited to know more about it. I'm going to be introducing Kamal and Grace. Kamal Jatoy, I really hope I'm doing justice to your name. And Grace Mugabe Kazi, they're going to give us a presentation. And this is really, really, really why we are here. It's to introduce some of the activities to you and for you representing your organizations. Just note down where you see you can tap into some collaborations that could be started from this presentation. And then after that, I will be welcoming some keynote speakers to give their remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Arthur. Those are very good Kinyarwanda lessons. I think we should take a bit more before we leave this room. We can make use of them in the restaurant area and elsewhere for those who are visiting Rwanda the first time. I'd like to thank the Honorable Minister, Minister Mbabazi, the Honorable Minister of State, the UN Resident Coordinator, the UNDP Deputy Resident Coordinator, partners from the region. We have the National Youth Coordinator, National Youth Council from Kenya, CEO. We have the Permanent Secretary from the Ministry of Youth in Senegal, the Permanent Secretary from the Youth Ministry in Mali. We also have incoming the Ministry of Youth Burkina Faso who are coming. We have partners from the region. We have mobile ecosystems here represented by Christian Masoji. We have Snake Nation. We're very grateful to have you. We have One Campaign. We have partners from all across Rwanda, young champions who are innovators in your own spaces as entrepreneurs, as social entrepreneurs. We're grateful to have you all this morning. And we're very grateful for the opportunity to speak to you about what YouthConnekt Africa is doing today and to share some updates and hopefully help you find a space in our journey, because YouthConnekt is a vision that we all find ourselves in. I'm going to ask the team to help us set our presentation. My name is Grace Mugabe Kazi. I am in charge of policy and programs at the YouthConnekt Africa Hub. I'm joined by my colleague, Kamer Jatol. He will be speaking after me. in a bit. Thank you very much. So having you all here is a great milestone. We have been looking forward to this moment in our journey as the hub. We started this journey in 2012. 2012 is the year where, championed by His Excellency the President, YouthConnekt Rwanda was born. It was born out of the desire to find young people and give them a platform. We had been speaking, as you all are in your different countries. We know that young people make up a huge part of our countries. We know that they are creative. We know that they have something to say about the work that we're doing as policymakers, the work that we're doing as program developers, as people who are investing into development. But we didn't really have a unified platform where we could hear them. And we wanted to make sure that that platform was present. And in 2012, for the first time, we had a youth gathering alongside the national dialogue. In Rwanda every year, chaired by His Excellency the President, the citizens of Rwanda get to speak to policymakers and leaders. It's a national forum. It's you'd wonder, how is that even possible? It's enabled through technology. We make sure that people are convened in various districts and also at national level. But we had never had a youth convening. And for the first time in 2012, there was a national youth convening that was contributing to the national dialogue. What this convening aimed at was to hear from young people, to hear them say for themselves, this is what we're doing. This is what is working at the level of implementation, and this is what is not working. It was a huge success, because you'd think, okay, if you give young people a platform, are they really going to contribute? They did. And out of those contributions, many initiatives were born. One of them that has really continued to reshape itself was the Business Development Fund. It's a guarantee fund. It's not a very new concept, but the concept itself was young people being entrepreneurial needed access to funding. At the time, we did not have diversified forms of funding available to entrepreneurs. Young people are high risk for traditional bankers, and there wasn't any other way to guarantee them access to resources. Following this establishment, the young people said, it's great, we're grateful for this platform, but we need services. We don't know how to access the funding. And that way emerged the services that accompanied young people to ensure that they could access these services. So offices were created across the country to ensure that young people would be accompanied in presenting their projects and studying their projects and then getting funding. Following that, there was various initiatives where young people would say, okay, we are skilled, but we can't apply for the same funding as those who are in agriculture. We are we are plumbers. We need tools. How can we access those? And all of that kept coming back to create solutions that allow young people to get the service that they need. I'm saying all of this to say that YouthConnekt has created a journey where young people contribute and policymakers listen, development partners listen, and together we open ourselves to be more adaptive. Recently, we heard the minister speaking at the YouthConnekt Rwanda Awards. She said to the young people, it's great that you presented projects that made it to the awards, but if you go back and you find that those projects are not relevant anymore, please adapt. Don't stick to the same thing if you think it's not relevant anymore. And I think that's a message to all of us that YouthConnekt calls us to do. So from that journey in 2012, YouthConnekt became continental when several countries reached out and said, we're very interested. After having being recognized by the UNDP as a regional innovative approach. And in 2017, we held the first YouthConnekt Africa Summit in Kigali. It convened young people as key stakeholders. It convened the private sector. It convened government, policymakers, development partners. And together we sat down for the first time. I believe we were the first largest convening on youth development in Africa. We sat down and discussed key issues such as unlocking the potential for youth entrepreneurship in Africa, such as ensuring that young people are represented in policy making and ensuring that we're addressing the issues on skills development. We're addressing the issues such as funding. And from those meetings that followed on in 2018, 2019, 2021 in Accra, we have seen emerging collaborations amongst partners. We have seen growing commitments from funders, from development actors. We have seen the birth of new initiatives, more organizations aligning to see young people as a key stakeholder, one that need to be invested into, and making sure that we are putting the resources behind the visions. So that is what YouthConnekt Africa is about. As our ED rightfully said, we are now in 25 countries, and our mission is to empower young people to enhance their skills, invest into their ideas and innovations, and ensure that we are creating collaboration. Moving on. The YouthConnekt Africa Hub was operationalized in 2020. This was the birth of a vision that had been set by countries that convened in 2017. When countries convened in 2017, they said, we need collaboration. We need to have a way to share more across our countries. And in 2020, we had Miss Uli Keita join us as an executive director, and a team was formed to be able to realize this vision. We launched 4 programs. A first program on entrepreneurship, where we focused on leveraging the recently realized African Free Trade Agreement and ensuring that we're supporting youth entrepreneurs to access opportunities for export on the continent. We are investing into health, ensuring that we are building the knowledge and services around youth mental and sexual reproductive health. We're doing work in policy, launching this week particularly a policy analysis that's going to look at what needs to be reviewed in the way that countries are looking at youth strategies. So strategies of youth leadership, youth employment, youth entrepreneurship, and ensuring that we can provide the recommendations. We're grateful to the countries that are represented here. We have a total of 12 countries represented, and we look forward to a very engaging process that will be led by Professor Omar Ndongo, who is the academic director for the Africa Strategic Intelligence Center. We also initiated a program called the Clusters Challenge. For the first time, while we had several countries already members to the YouthConnekt, we were able to initiate a way to run programs with the countries and identify learning with the countries. We held in 2021, for the first time, the YouthConnekt Africa Summit outside of Rwanda. That was in Accra, Ghana, and we're very grateful to the government of Ghana for hosting and championing the effort. We were also able to host in 2021, for the first time, the Sahel Youth Forum, YouthConnekt Forum, that brought together the 10 countries in the Sahel and was hosted and championed by the government of Senegal. We reinforced knowledge development and understanding of best practices, and this is something that we're continuing to do. By engaging every country, we are identifying what they're doing very well. So we see an emergence of innovation and collaboration amongst stakeholders, say, in the country of Zimbabwe. We are seeing very innovative practices in the country of Ghana in terms of addressing youth access to employment for the first time. And we've seen huge mobilization of efforts. We've seen huge efforts in the area of youth leadership, championed by countries like DRC and the Congo, Senegal. And we are seeing a lot of interest in ensuring that young people are participating in rebuilding nations that are going through transitions right now. We were able to sign partnerships with organizations, and we're very excited that 2022 opens us a new era for engagement of partners. Next slide. While we do our work, we often ask ourselves, how are we reaching young people? I hope this is a question that all of you ask yourselves. I think the people in this room represent, we have young champions who are social entrepreneurs and champions in their fields, working in health, youth participation, youth entrepreneurship. We have organizations that are supporting skills development. We have development actors, we have policymakers as well. But often when we sit down at the YouthConnekt Africa Hub, we ask ourselves, how is the work that we're doing here impacting the young people? And we want to challenge ourselves even further to reach young people by not just ensuring that our programs at the level of YouthConnekt Africa are able to reach young people, but by empowering national chapters and empowering our partners to have a focus on young people, on delivering to the last mile for these young people who need the services. In 2022, we have several priorities. Number one is knowledge development. I think the technical team went a bit fast on that. Knowledge development in the area of policy. We think policy unlocks a lot. We know policy unlocks a lot. And we know that governments across Africa are willing to unlock the potential of young people. But it's important that we bridge the gap between the how. And we know that there's countries that have knowledge and practices that are doing well in certain areas that can share this knowledge and practices to enable other countries to do the same. So we are going to be doing a lot of understanding on understanding which practices are working. Through the policy work that we are doing, we'll be producing a policy white paper that will look at, yes, the policies that are working, but also the practices that have worked across the countries to ensure that we share those in a practical manner. We'll be engaging more with governments, ensuring that we build effective relationships with ministries of youth and create a platform for regular interaction between the ministries. We'll be strengthening our YouthConnekt Africa network and expanding it. As was rightfully said, we were born out of Rwanda, and over the years have grown our network across the continent. We have been able to grow to, in 2021, we had over 100 organizations represented at the summit, and we intend to continue to grow that, not just to grow the network, but to grow collaboration within the network. We also intend to continue to identify young people who are champions in their spaces, to give them a platform, to give them a voice, so that they're contributing to the conversations that set the scene for their peers, and how governments are investing, how development actors are investing. Next slide. We're doing partnership and resource mobilization, and we're increasing the visibility of the YouthConnekt Africa brand. Now over to my colleague, who's going to speak about the journey and learning of YouthConnekt Africa through the work that we do as a platform in the YouthConnekt Africa Summit. Over to you, Kamea.
Thank you, Grace. Thank you, Grace. And my name is Kamal Jatoi, and I'm a program specialist. And a very warm welcome once again to all of the guests and participants in this meeting. So I will be taking you through the summit program and what we have for this year. But before going to this year's summit, I would like to go to present how we reached where we are today and how evolved as a summit. So our start was humble, but it was very impactful. It was our first meeting. We started with a few partners, with 1,500 participants, but it was very impactful. It brought a lot of member countries. It brought neighboring countries who showed the interest to join this movement. And slowly we build this brand, and more partners, more youth was engaged. And you can see that we started with 1,500 participants, but then in the next year edition, we were more than 8,000 participants with double partners. And then the most important factor in the summit participation was the youth. 80 to 90% of participants were young, not only as a attendee, but the speakers and the panelists. So in 2019, we went beyond our traditional way of managing the summit, and our participation growth was enormous, and 91 countries represented the summit, and 12,000 young people participated in the summit. So 2021 was another remarkable year. Whole world was fighting with COVID, and it was our first ever summit beyond Rwanda. We hosted this summit in Ghana, uh, thanks to government of Ghana who hosted the summit. And this event was both in person as well as virtual. In person, we had a participation of 3,000 people, and there was over 1,000 participants virtually in this summit. For 22, we have some ambitious targets. Again, we want to encourage young people, not only from the continent, but beyond. And our aim is to bring 10,000 people with the gender parity of 50-50%. So this year summit will be focusing how we can increase investment in youth to make them more resilient and to have a resilient future. So this is a tentative theme, our focus area where we will be working on the summit. This year summit will also be a 3-day event and will attract 10,000 participants, and we are going to host it in Kigali Arena. This year summit will be having different tracks or themes, which will be focusing different aspects of youth empowerment, more specializing in the resilience of youth. So first track will be focusing on investing in youth resilience to build a stronger Africa. There will be a number of sessions or activities under this track, which will be focusing more on how we can cultivate resilience skills, attitude in youth, how we can scale up our homegrown solutions to promote resilience, and also innovative financing. So now this is our 3rd year in COVID era, and it asks for some new innovations and adoptions. So this track will be focusing on how we can adapt and change, or how we can reimagine our businesses, economy, skills, and employment to accelerate the post-recovery and growth in post-pandemic world. And this track will be focusing on learnings, adoptions, new skills, and women empowerment, how we can put girls empowerment at the center of the recovery, and what are the policy takeaways from this whole COVID response, and how we can make our youth and continent more resilient. So 3rd track will be more focused on encouraging investment in human capital development, but youth-centered human capital development. What are the emerging skills, technologies, or sectors that we need to invest as a government, as partner, as a young people, and how we can further leverage on SCFTA, what are the opportunities it's bringing for us to develop human for the next era of development. So there will be number of activities under this theme. As YouthConnekt Africa is a partners event, partners always lead the programmatic and technical side of the event. So there are a lot of opportunities for for the partners to actually participate and develop the program with us. So there will be breakout sessions for partners where they can organize anything based on the mandate of their organization. It includes disability, disruption in different sectors like epidemics, migration, youth refugees, climate and environment, engaging business and private sector, climate action, financial inclusion, gig economy, diaspora engagement, intra-Africa trade, youth policies, and connected girls. And even partners are welcome to host anything beyond these breakout sessions as per their organizational needs and mandate. There will be host of side events, which include YCA award. There will be media engagement, cultural programs. Every year during the summit, we host technical meetings for our member countries to discuss the future course of action and programs. We will have a steering committee meeting, networking dinner, and SME exhibition for young entrepreneurs across Africa. As I said, this event is a partner-led event. So what we expect from our partners to come forward and contribute programmatically by hosting any session, workshop, any activity that they might be interested to host, or support us financially as a passive partner. So there would be a lot of opportunities for our partners to engage in this one of the largest event at continent. There are sponsorship opportunities, which includes partners can join us as a lead partner. This whole package comes with a lot of benefits in terms of visibility, in terms of speaking, in terms of other benefits that can help our partners to promote or showcase their work. Then we have a track sponsorship. Any partner can lead any track in the summit, as I presented some of the tracks. So any partner can lead. Our two partners can join together to as a lead or co-lead to lead the track. And similarly, we have some value or price tag for the breakout sessions, and it comes with different benefits that we can further discuss in our bilaterals. We have one very innovative program that we carry out in all editions of YCA Summit. It's called YouthConnekt Africa Awards. So any partner can sponsor this program. And then there will be opportunity to have booths. There will be a SME exhibition area during the summit. So partners are also welcome here to come and showcase their products and services. Thank you. And these are some contact details for the partnership opportunities. Thank you. Thank you very much. If you have any question, I would be happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kamer. I would like to add that for the summit in particular, the budget for the summit is 1.5 million USD, and we welcome opportunities for financial sponsorship and technical and programmatic sponsorship. Thank you very much. I think we'll hand over to you, Arthur, to lead the next session.
Thank you very much. You had to end on the money part. That's a very good way of ending anything. So that you get to remember. I'm going to ask you to say hi to people that are watching online. I don't know, can we have on the screen, just show me those people. Hey, can we just wave? Can you see us wherever you are? I hope so. All right, I'm sure they are there. Great, thank you. I hope you've had an amazing time understanding how you can participate, understanding how you can be involved. Now today, as I said, I will be receiving some key speakers. We are blessed to be with speakers that came to be with us here today. And I would love to tell you that I really appreciate the energy and the patience that you have, that you're still following the conversations. We really appreciate that. now to continue, please allow me to welcome the resident coordinator, 1UN Rwanda, Mr. Fonde Ndiaye, who's here to be with us. Please, would love to hear from you. We are blessed to have you in the house, and having something from you will be such a pleasure. Please, the stage is all yours. And ladies and gentlemen, allow me to welcome Mr. Fonde to also give us his remarks. Thank you very much.
I think Arthur did not do his job. Initially, I was about to clap for him, but I was listening for one word to be said. If we should have said, I'll be introducing the youngest in the room, Mr. Fodenjai. But as he did not do so, so I will keep my 1.5 million USD in my pocket. So frankly, it's always a pleasure to be with you and really Honorable Minister Nyakubava. I think today I will just speak English because I see that Uli has beaten me, so I can't compete. So Nyakubava Minister, Minister of Youth and Culture, Nyakubava Minister of State in charge of Culture, Head of UN agencies here present, government officials, colleagues. It's always a pleasure to be with you because whenever you walk out this session, I think you will gain more energy and you will be younger. So I think you better come to this type of engagement. But let me say that I was just a few days ago with our colleagues with their retreat. And I started off with a story that I read from one of the well-known, passed away now, well-known a politician, global well-known, I will not disclose, but he was one of the youngest of the group surrounding the president at that time. And all the people were asking the president, why whatever you have, you just turn to this youngest of our group. We have wisdom, we are older. So the president posed. He said to them, there are 3 reasons. One, he never lied. Second, he never said bad things about people. Third, whenever he knocks on my door, he brings a new idea. I think this is the kind of characteristic we are seeing in young people. They are committed, they are passionate, they are looking at solutions. And I think hearing from the panelists, I said I should have skipped my remarks because this will not be really more than what they have already said. But I will bring just a few comments. One, I want to really thank the team in the leadership of Rwanda, starting from His Excellency, the President Paul Kagame, Minister Mbabazi, and all the government. It was a whole of society and whole of government that supported this movement of YouthConnekt from one country now to 25 countries. And I'm sure that we'll reach the target that has been set. But what more important, I'm so happy to see that the drivers of these games are young people. You see the head of this hub, they are all youngsters, you know, from Grace, from Uli, from Amin, Kamar, all of them, and other people behind the scene that is supporting this journey. You can see the figure. You'll be amazed on what came out of this journey. But a lot of engagement, sweat, a lot of sleepless night, a lot of laugh, a lot of love, a lot of passion that is really about this journey. Second, I want to say is we are living in an era which is now known as VUCA, vulnerability, uncertainties, complexity, and ambiguity. And the Ukraine crisis, the COVID crisis, all have taught us that the world will be and continue to be full of crisis. But what it also has taught us, that human beings are full of energy, creation, innovation to really make sure that we overcome all those crises. And that's about resilience. You know that resilience is a psychological word that is looking at the way, as it was Geraldine mentioned, looking at the word that how you overcome difficulties. Because difficulties are normal. How you overcome difficulties. How you make sure that you stay focused on your mission in the context of adversity that will be all be facing. So I'm glad that the overall theme is that. But to do that, you need to invest. You need to invest. You need to invest in empowering people. You need to invest in human capital. Because the difference between nations will not be the endowment on your on your natural resources. It will be the endowment on your human capital, on your social capital, on how you build your communities, how you connect, how you make sure that you have a sense of purpose, a sense of mission, how you are committed to your nation, as Geraldine mentioned, but to your continent as well, and to the world, how you want to leave the world a better world, and you contribute to that building. And that's what it's about, the resilience that we are talking about. The third element I want to add is, I got it from Campeta, who was one of the brilliant speakers also during the retreat. He said, that, what is he said? He said that scary is, what is it? Big is scary, but scary is good. You know, you need, and the book I was referring to was also titled No Rooms for Small Dreams. No rooms for small dreams. We should have big dreams, and that's what you have. The fourth I want to mention, and I'm glad that we started off also with the music, as you rightly said. You know, I can disclose it now. Every day I start with music. I've never, when I'm in my bathroom, I have my loudspeaker and I put music. And great ideas come when you have the water pouring on your head and you have music as background. Please try it. You'll be amazed of ideas that you could generate. So I think culture is very important. As Honorable Minister Mbabazi always said to us, it is where you ground what you want to do. The sense of purpose, your culture, when you connect with your communities, that's very important. The innovation aspect, that it was mentioned, you need to create, you need to make sure. Somebody was asking why we are saying Africa is the next frontier. And someone answers that thing. I would also say that. He answers that there's a lot of problems to be solved. If you have a lot of problems to be solved, then you need to create, then you need to innovate, then you need to find solutions. But to end with this few remarks, when I'm listening to you as panelists, my view is that I think we need the right combination of leadership and management. If you are great leaders and no one is implementing, this is where you have the disconnect that one of the panelists said. You have all the framework it takes. You have the policy. They are great. Even some are outdated because we did a study. Some are 10 years old, but we need to update them. But we have the right framework. But no one is following up to implement, to deliver results. And people ended up being fed up, ended up losing hope. You need the right combination that glue the leadership, showing the way, the wisdom to the management. And we found it in young people as well. Now, let me say that the other aspect I want to raise with you is sustainability. I think whatever we are doing, you don't have impact if you don't have scale and you don't have scale and sustainability. So I think we need to look at how we build resilient systems and institutions, how we make sure that the ecosystem is conducive enough for innovation, for creation, for co-creation, as it was mentioned. You mentioned also the aspect of finance. Let me tell you something. I'm a member of the sounding board of the SG's report on financing that will be issued soon. And you'll be amazed to know that the narrative, we are not always saying it correct, but Africa is financing its own development. Remittances is now 89 billion US dollars, whereas the official development assistance is 55. So only remittances from the diaspora is doubling the official development assistance. Savings 480 billion USD, our internal savings, how we tap on. That's very powerful that we have the right, elements of finance. And many African countries, including Rwanda, is embarked on innovative finance. So important that we get that. Digital economy, that's also an aspect that is very powerful. UNCTAD mentioned that 10% in internet increase will yield 1.2% increase in GDP. It's powerful. And Africa has to live from there. Last point is on the African continental free trade area. It is a market of 1.2 billion individuals and 2.4 trillion USD as GDP. But if we do it right, it will unlock 35 trillion US dollars of GDP. That's a lot. And this is where you are creating your decent job. This is where you are looking at your urbanization, your circular economy, your climate finance, and all these elements that are important. And I think that's really what I want to say on this. But we need to connect. The intra-trade Africa is only 18%. Whereas it is 70% in Europe. We have a lot of gap. Let me conclude saying 3 ideas that I think we need to look at, because I like the what mentioned on the film. But first, I think that global Africa should better support Africa. I'm talking about the diaspora. I'm talking about the private sector. I'm talking about youngsters and women that are looking at cross-border and other elements. So I think we need to make sure that we use. I think academia. Don't think that we are tapping enough on academia. I like what you mentioned on policy analysis as well as academia. Let's bring in academia to look at homegrown solution as Rwanda is doing for Africa. That's the way that YouthConnekt also could build on that. Mining data, very important, not for analytical purpose, but making sure data is used to unlock possibilities in economy. Foresight, an important aspect. But for UN, we can bring also goodwill ambassadors. I think UNFPA, UNICEF, UNDP, WFP, all of them have very strong goodwill ambassadors. Let's make sure that we bring them to YouthConnekt. We bring them on discussing issues. We bring them on empowering young people's voice to make sure that it is heard everywhere. And that's my call on all of us to make sure that it is the best summit we have ever had. I started off with the summit in 2017. I think when I'll be leaving this beautiful country, it will be also the time for this YouthConnekt to reach another. And thank you, Uli, Grace, Kamer, Amin, and thank you for the great leadership to Mr. Rosemary and Mr. Pampori, and UNFPA, WFP, UNICEF, you name them all. Murakoze cyane, turi kumwe, abishize hamwe na kibananira. Thank you for your kind.
Thank you. Thank you very much. What a way to close it. And from what I got, it seems the solutions are actually within us. And he mentioned something of tapping into the available resources in Africa, rather actually thinking from outside. And the diaspora also could really support. I like that. And I think all of us who are here, we are here to look for solutions. But have we talked to each other to see if we have solutions? Or are we discussing on how to get solutions before we even tap into our own resources? And something that Grace mentioned is the youth of Africa is our number one resource. In fact, they are assets to themselves. And I think that's something we can actually tap into. Now, the government of Rwanda understands this, and that's why we have such talks, such initiatives, such summits happening. And we are blessed to have Honorable Minister of Youth and Culture, Rosemary Mbabazi. I would love to take this moment to welcome you on stage and deliver your remarks. And please help me welcome her on stage as she delivers her remarks. Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, our great moderator. Can we give him a round of applause? I can speak in Rwanda as well. It was so good. I think I'm speaking African. So everyone from Africa will understand that. So thank you so much, our great moderator. I'm so grateful to the young people at Rwanda Ubuhanzi that started off with us with great music and their talent and their wonderful voices. Nyakubahwa Minister of State, muri Minisiteri y'Urubyiruko n'Umuco, Nyakubahwa RC, UN Resident Coordinator. I just want to say that because he really mastered that, and Missy Uli, a very great learners. Dear representative of One UN Family, UNFPA, UNDP, UNICEF, and other partners that are present here. Our dear Executive Director of YouthConnekt Africa and your team, the COICA representative who is following us online, our esteemed young people from 10 countries that they mentioned earlier, a great panel that highlighted what we should be discussing at the summit come October. All partners present, I want to thank you very much for honoring us with your time. Time is very essence and very important. If someone gives you his time, he gives you all the treasures he has. I also thank you very much, the team from the YouthConnekt Africa Hub. I want you to see the small lean structure that the hub has that is driving all this we see. Edie and your team, can you rise up for recognition? So you can see a small team, but we all, thank you very much. You can have your seat, but we all support them as one team from the ministry, from SPIU, from UNDP, from Imbuto Foundation. We have all these teams coming together whenever there's a lot of work to work on. So really count on our support. As you said, this vision is bigger than all of us. It's bigger than all of us. And we are driving the vision of our leaders. His Excellency, the President of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, started this program in 2012, and with the support of partners, UNDP and One UN Family and the private sector and the civil society and the young people all work together towards the same vision. So we are implementing the vision for Africa. We are implementing the vision of our heads of state. We are so grateful to Her Excellency, the First Lady of the Republic of Rwanda, Her Excellency Jeannette Kagame, also with Her Imbuto Foundation that we worked so closely. I think you saw the whole weekend, we've been partnering together. I can see people who didn't change clothes like myself and Minister and colleague Minister. We've been on a marathon over the whole week. Since from Art Rwanda Ubuhanzi, to the YouthConnekt Awards and TVET Youth Challenge, to the YouthConnekt Africa. We are preparing the summit. I know we've been together all this journey, so we really appreciate your support. It's not taken for granted. And we are already working on this journey that we implement together with African countries, 25 African countries that are already implementing YouthConnekt Africa. The discussion today, I think, was really highlighted by my previous speakers, the executive director of YouthConnekt Africa and the resident coordinator of the One UN. The event today aims at re-engaging key stakeholders in the youth development space to find areas of alignment and collaboration and to raise resources for Continental YouthConnekt Africa programs, in particular the 2020 summit. But before we come to that, we were inspired by the panel that was led by Casey. I kept on looking at her and remembering she's not yet even 20, I believe, or 20 at most. And you can imagine how she crafts all these challenges, how she spoke eloquently to the issues of young people, how she managed the panel. Africa is really blessed. When we talk about YouthConnekt, I think we are looking at three key P's that we want to emphasize mostly. We always talk about this. The first P is policy. The first P is policy, but this policy is developed by another P, which is political will. Without the political will, all this ecosystem we're talking about is not possible. So with economic empowerment, social and governance, without the political will, it won't be possible. The first P is political will, followed by the policies that are right and which are reinforcing and responding to the challenges of young people. The third I would talk about is programs. The programs that come from the policies that we have crafted that are responsive and customized and responding to the challenges of young people, that most of them were highlighted. But the most important part is the young people's participation is very key, and you could see they provide solutions for us to support them. The other P is partnership. That's the reason we're here. So political will, the policies, the programs, and the partnership, alignment of all partners we have today speaks a lot to the reason why we have this summit. Above all, we really have the intergenerational dialogue. That's what makes a difference. The young people want to be inspired. The young people want to speak to the leaders. The young people want to raise their voices to be heard. The highest demographics of our continent wants to be heard and want also to listen to the leaders. So that's what makes it very unique. When we had the panel, I kept on writing what is going to be in our summit of 2022. Very grateful to the organization of our sister country, the Stars of Pan-Africanism, Ghana, in Accra. My brother hosted it, and His Excellency, the President of Ghana, hosted it last year. It's in Rwanda this year. It might be elsewhere next year. So we're happy to go to the southern part of Africa or eastern part or another western part of Central Africa. We want to see the bids of countries that want to host it. From the discussions of the panel you had, I had many words that I kept on thinking about. What do we do next? How can we do it better? Because we are at the service of young people. I had engagement. I had empowerment. I had resilience, resilient youth and resilient Africa. We had ownership, responsibility. We had accountability of young people, government, civil society, the private sector. The most important one is also co-creation. Nothing for youth without youth. We co-create together, co-creation. I had also decent jobs. How can we create decent jobs? How can we support them to create decent jobs? Another one is easy of doing business by providing enabling environment, the infrastructure, or the support systems, the system that can support them to survive and thrive and prosper. Sustainability. We also had digitization and bridging the digital divide. All these are key important words, and it is informing to what we are going to be discussing mid-October. We still have tentative dates. We have to confirm, but we have to continue with planning. We are looking at the almost similar dates of October, October is very important month for Rwanda. It's a liberation month, but also it's very important for Africa in general. And I also learned it is Independence Day for Senegal today. Did you know that? It is Independence Day for Senegal. Our moderator, our MC, you need to catch up with that as well. So, and you have to speak Senegalese today, the language. So when we had all these keywords, it is informing the program that we are working on together. We can't make it without the young people being on board. We can't make it without the policymakers. We can't make it without the development partners present. We can't make it without private sector and the civil society. And most importantly, our young people, the entrepreneurs, the social entrepreneurs, and name it all. We want to thank you very much for blessing us with your presence today. We want to hear more from yourselves than from us, because we've been speaking, but we want to hear from you. I don't want to take much of the time, but so thank you very much, and hand over to the moderator to help us to know what next. How do we drive this summit better and bigger and more impactful? Thank you very much, and have a good. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. And I think we will close it on what she mentioned. Part of the piece was partnerships, and that is why we are here. Thank you very much for that. She asked me to tell you Happy Independence Day in Senegal. So I have tried to Google, but internet. So maybe you can be my Google. How do you say Happy Independence Day in your language?
Will you get it?
Eh. That, amazing. You got it? Hey. I'm going to be moving around because, to be honest, we really need to hear from you. We've had enough on the front stage. What is in you people? What are you looking at? Do you have any interventions? Do you have any initiatives that you think can be tapped in? Thank you very much. You can tell me your name and be quick on it, and we can really tap it. The team from YouthConnekt is going to note it down, and they will reach out to you whenever they need you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I'll just go here so I'm not putting my back to people. Good morning. My name is Farsha. I'm the Deputy Resident Representative for UNDP Rwanda. I would like to add, and thank you so much, Honorable Minister and Executive Director, YouthConnekt Africa, and the team. We're so proud of you. And indeed, we all echo what Honorable Minister said. It's so impressive with a lean team, just to see the power of what a small group of young people can do. Honorable Minister, I have more P's to add. The question was what partners can bring to the table. So on behalf of UNDP Africa, we have a new regional program for Africa, and there's 4 P's, so I have more P's. It's centered around people, planet, prosperity, and peace for UNDP Africa. Our priority is increasingly in UNDP Africa focused on youth, particularly entrepreneurship and employment. We will also be bringing to the summit our partnership with the Tony Alumelu Foundation. We have partnered around 14 million, and we have a target for 10,000 young people across Africa. And very soon, with Honorable Minister, we hope to be adding that component to YouthConnekt Rwanda. So we will be bringing that to the summit and this movement of YouthConnekt Africa. Also in UNDP, we will soon be launching a Pan-African financing facility. So we're pleased to announce that because financing has come up by the young panel this morning, and it's also a theme we are very pleased to see for this year's summit. So I liked how it was because it was the first because of the pandemic. It was the first hybrid summit, so it was Accra. So on the road from Accra to Kigali, we'll have to come up with something. But around that journey, I was discussing with the One UNRC, where of course we're reminded that the theme was around trade and AFCTA, which makes sense based in Ghana. I really commend, I like the theme around investment because it makes the link. That's what I was thinking from the road from Accra to Kigali, because AFCTA is so critical and it's so new. This morning, the panel and young people talked about policies. Well, now is the time, right? AFCTA is so new and it has to be, the policies are being made now and the protocols, and there's a movement for a youth protocol. So this continues from year to year in the next several years. So I think the investment theme carries through from the theme of the Ghana summit to the road from Accra to Kigali. So I just wanted to point that out. And we'll also build on the, of course, the regional summits that we're having. The YouthConnekt Africa Hub mentioned the Sahel Forum, and we also have our colleague Nadine who will say something, who joined from the UNDP side on those regional summits. So I think we should also build that in. So it would be good to hear more around that. So around that, some on the what. So we commend that and we look forward to working closely on that substance. So on the who, we were brainstorming from the UN side, the one UN side. UNDP works with a program called African Influencers. So we look forward to, as UNDP, bringing some of those African influencers. But as the RC said, the one UN partnership for YouthConnekt Rwanda, we can put our heads together with the Goodwill ambassadors. UNICEF has many key people, WFP, UNFPA, so we can see what we can bring. And the influencers and the UN Goodwill ambassadors that are young, because we do have young people. So we can look at that as a one UN, as the RC said. And moving finally to partnerships, I think this is why we're here. ED brought us here around that. We've already started in terms of access and bringing young people here. We know it can be expensive to travel. So we should look creatively from the UNDP side. We already started some discussions, I think, building from the planning for Accra in terms of accessibility for young people, partnerships with airlines. So I think we can all put our heads together around the continent. Where can we merge deals with different African airlines to bring young people in terms of accessibility? But I think we have a good start, Honorable Minister and ED, but I think we should put our heads together to use the summits as an opportunity to grow the partnerships. We build on the ones we have for YouthConnekt Africa, and we built for Rwanda, but look at continental partnerships and drawing in big investors, African investors for the summit. So I think we have 6 months, that moves very quickly. So in half a year, I think we can practically look at who, and I would encourage us to have a lead. You know, that's how it worked for previous summits. You know, the UN raised our hand and said, we will work on this. Some work, some don't. So for the airlines, for example, we as UNDP can commit to looking at some of those, but I invite others to join. So that's a word on partnerships, and that's what we're here for. I invite others. I know my one UN colleagues will be pitching in on other partnerships that they're already pledging to bring to the table. Another on the how, the hybrid. The world has changed, as the panel had said. So let's see what we can learn from the lessons learned of Accra to Kigali. Of course, it will be hybrid again because we're recovering, but we're still in a pandemic. And with the need for vaccine equity, we know it's still a challenge for many African countries. So in terms of safety, it will still be an issue in October. Unfortunately, we know that. But how can we make that dynamic? And finally, Honorable Minister, you mentioned the date. So maybe if it's not 100%, but of course, I think the sooner we lock that in, doing a really, with all of our support, a really exciting launch event, maybe to draw in some of those influencers, to raise the momentum and the buzz and to announce the theme sooner than later would be good. So you have our support around that, because everyone gets busy, and Honorable Minister just noted that October is a busy month for the continent. So that's on the how. I think that was all from our side for UNDP. Maybe I will, while UNDP has the floor, I will pass the mic to Nadine, my colleague who is also a part of what I had said. Let's build on the lessons learned also of the momentum we built around the regional YouthConnekt Summit, which was launched with the Sahel, and I think more are coming, but lessons learned for this year and for the summit in Kigali in October. Thank you. Over to you, Nadine.
Excellency Ministers, and Head of Agencies, all the delegates here present. It's good to speak on behalf of the Sahel when we are celebrating the independence of Senegal, and we have pointed out the RC, but we also have Uli hiding there. It's also a big day, and I heard that we also have a representative of the government of Senegal here. We have that person. Really, we wish you a happy Independence Day. Enjoy your day. So thank you very much. As the Deputy Resident Representative said, I'm from UNDP Rwanda and Sahel at the same time. I'm trying to apply the MTN motto of everywhere you go. So I'm here and I'm there at the same time. So just you sharing experience as UNDP and working closely with the African Union, YouthConnekt is a must-do. It's a flagship initiative which we're happy to support. I will not speak about Rwanda in the presence of the minister who talked about it, but I just want to share a bit of the YouthConnekt Sahel platform, which is the first sub-regional platform of the YouthConnekt initiative as a whole. And I enjoyed very much the resilience as a theme. I'm going to picture a bit how this started. It started in 2021. It was launched late November, early December. And if your memory is good, that was the peak moment for Omicron. That was also the peak moment for all the insecurities in the Sahel, with violent extremism, with the initial phase of the coup d'etat. But we also had a number of youth movements which were affected both socially and economically. So resilience for the Sahel means a lot. So if amidst a pandemic, a political crisis, an economic crisis because of COVID-19, young people from 10 countries under the leadership of their respective governments said, this is not going to stop us from being one. So that is the story of YouthConnekt Sahel. It's not institutional. It's actually the resilience of 10 governments and 10 youth from the 10 countries saying these pandemics and crises will not stop us from having a say in what is happening. And they came together in Dakar, again celebrating Senegal together, to share some few messages which I wanted to share with you. One, they said, we are young people, we don't want to be beneficiaries, we want to be your partners. So again, as we prepare for the summit, Honorable Minister, maybe this is a message which we can also consider from young people in the Sahel. They don't want to be beneficiaries, they want to be partners. They have a lot to bring, and being partners for them meant having a say in setting the agenda. And this is maybe something I wanted to share with Uli. They said the agenda was good, but it sounded very much high level. It was not set by us. And some of them were saying with technology now, you can launch an online campaign and let us define the agenda of the summit. So maybe this is a good initiative we can already take for this year. Why not consulting them? Why not listening their voice and consider some of the topics? I can see Geraldine already writing that down. Maybe this is something we can consider for this year. Let them have a say. They are not beneficiaries, they are partners. Then the second thing they said, they also said, when you invite us, you don't invite all the young people. You invited those who have something to offer. You invite them because they're entrepreneurs, they're innovators, they're community leaders. But when they're in the room, you don't recognize who they are. So maybe as we also invite them, we also need to make sure that we are speaking to the leaders, to the innovators and entrepreneurs, not only listening to them and telling them what to do, but let them manage the show. I enjoyed very much how our colleague from Kenya was saying with the leaders. So they are the leaders. When they come to Rwanda in October, let's make sure that we recognize who they are. And we also give them space to lead on some of those conversations because they come to summit with something to say. And then the last point I really want to share as a success story, and I think Grace and other colleagues from the hub were with us. The success of the Sahel platform, despite the challenges we faced in launching it, was a result of strong partnership. And strong partnership, not only with the government, which was leading the government of Senegal, but the partnership with young people, because they were all over serving for free. They were volunteers to help us manage the COVID protocol with WHO, but they were also telling us what to do and how to do it. They really did their best. So maybe as we also work toward this summit, how can we have these people running the show? Not only because they were hired and paid for it,
but because they can do it better than us. So can we also consider that we'll be having them as participants, but also as active agents? Grace is happy, so I hope she'll follow that. So let's just make sure that we are inviting them, but they have something to offer. Yeah. So whenever we build our list, let's give them the space. And this is the lessons we learn from there. I don't want to pledge on behalf of the Regional Service Center for Africa, because the one to make a pledge is coming tomorrow and he will share the figures. But what I can pledge is confirmation of technical support, growth from the 4 hubs. So from Addis, from Nairobi with the Resilience Hub, where they will have a lot of technical expertise with the team, but also from Dakar and from Johannesburg with financial inclusion. So you'll have all the brains and the support for that. So that is something which I'm happy to confirm, but also the participation of the regional office under the leadership of our regional director, who's also working with Honorable Minister on driving this agenda. So thank you very much.
Well, isn't this the right time to be young again? I'm sure some of you are wondering, at my time, I didn't have this. Well, we are still young. I think that was really good, and I loved the message of we are not beneficiaries. And if you think of it, actually, when you think yourself as a beneficiary, all you think you have to do is receive. That's it. You're just at the receiving side, not as the initiating side. And I think having them as partners, then it will be able to have them actually be involved and understand. And actually, that's a very good message. I loved it personally. I think we have a gentleman, a young gentleman here to also give some of the ways he sees some collaboration. Feel free, feel free. We've paid for this. We should use it. We should use it for sure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, my name is Alassane Diallo, the first conseiller of Minister of Youth in Senegal. Honorable Minister of Youth, Culture in Rwanda, just pass you the salutation of Minister of Senegal, Nene Fatoumata Tall. She is a young and nice woman like you. Excellent Fodé Ndiaye, coordinateur UN Rwanda. Excellent Uli Keita, executive director. Unfortunately, I'll be the first person asking you to let me talk in French, because it will be for me the way to I be sure that I will talk exactly what the government of Senegal is doing in this policy of YouthConnekt. Excellency Fodé Ndiaye will be try to help me to explain what I have say for this. Le Sénégal compte actuellement 16 millions d'habitants. Environ 42% de sa population a moins de 15 ans. L'âge médian de la population se situe actuellement à 19 ans et la population du troisième âge, 60 ans et plus, représente une faible proportion, moins de 6%. En moyenne, le taux de croissance démographique est assez important, environ 3,5% au cours de la dernière décennie. Ces perspectives démographiques relèvent le poids actuel de la jeunesse ainsi que son importance dans les 30 prochaines années. Cette jeunesse fait face actuellement à de multiples défis, dont la pauvreté et le chômage, le manque d'opportunités ainsi que la faiblesse de compétences et d'inclusion politique. En vue d'apporter des réponses pratiques aux préoccupations actuelles, auxquels fait face la jeunesse sénégalaise. L'État du Sénégal a mis en place d'importantes initiatives au plan institutionnel et financier à travers notamment le plan Sénégal émergent. Toutefois, on observe qu'en dépit de toutes ces actions entreprises, appuyées par des partenaires au développement tels que le système des Nations Unies, la question de la jeunesse reste plus que jamais persistante pour les gouvernants. Fort de ce constat, l'État du Sénégal, dans la mise en place d'une orientation politique de jeunesse stratégique et opérationnelle, tournée vers l'avenir qui reconnaissent les jeunes en tant qu'agents de changement, de transformation sociale, de paix et de développement durable à travers un programme holistique dénommé le plan Sénégal émergent priorité jeunesse 2035. Le PSE priorité jeunesse 2035 est le volet du plan Sénégal émergent exclusivement consacré à la prise en charge des besoins et aspirations des jeunes. Il est mis en place par un gouvernement du Sénégal conscient du rôle de la jeunesse dans l'émergence du pays et convaincu que pour mieux investir dans l'avenir, il faut investir dans cette jeunesse, notamment dans la citoyenneté, l'éducation, la formation, l'emploi, l'entrepreneuriat, la santé, le sport, la créativité et la culture. Le cercle ouvert des acteurs du PSE Priorité Jeunesse est constitué par des structures gouvernementales, à savoir des ministères et des agences, des organisations de la société civile, ONG et associations, des entreprises du secteur privé et agences de coopération qui investissent dans la jeunesse sénégalaise en lui offrant directement ou indirectement des opportunités dans les domaines de la citoyenneté, l'éducation, la formation, l'emploi, l'entrepreneuriat et j'en passe. Il sera articulé autour de 3 axes prioritaires, notamment, premier axe, éducation et formation. Deuxième axe, emploi et entrepreneuriat. Troisième acte, citoyenneté, santé et sport, facteur d'inclusion sociale. Le chantier de sa structuration est engagé par le ministère en relation avec le bureau opérationnel de suivi du PSE, une structure créée par le chef de l'État et qui est logée au palais, et des partenaires techniques et financiers, notamment les agences du système des Nations Unies. Ces se sont déjà engagés sous le lead du PNUD. La plateforme YouthConnekt sera ainsi pour nous un instrument d'opérationnalisation numérique du PSE Priorité Jeunesse et sera une nouvelle plus-value considérable dans le pilotage et la gouvernance du secteur jeunesse. Elle est perçue comme une opportunité de mettre en place un cadre fédérateur des acteurs de l'écosystème jeunesse, un moyen de développer des synergies entre acteurs, un dispositif de suivi des programmes jeunesse et l'aide à la prise de décision. Je vous remercie de votre attention.
Thank you very much. And we appreciate for delivering your speech in a different language. I think that's also another way of collaboration. I mean, we shouldn't expect to communicate in one language, isn't it? Are we together, our friend from Kenya? Yes. Amazing. Before we continue, and Mr. Asante, I know you want to say something, but before we have you, I understand we also have some people online. I would love to tell you, in case you also want to contribute, I think we have one more spot remaining. Please just, there is an emoji of raising your hand, and our technical team will definitely reach out to you, and then you can get to ask your question. But Mr. Asante, UNFPA representative, please go ahead. Thank you.
I don't know if you noticed we are breaking a bit of the protocol. We should have sanitized our hands before holding the microphone. Just a couple of points before I come to the pledge. I think in the discourse, something critical we need to keep in mind. YouthConnekt, when it was created, I was then in Cameroon, and we were invited to come to Kigali. And it was an initiative in response to the call of Africa to harness the demographic dividend. And always I say it's good we go back to that African Union document in terms of harnessing the demographic dividend, which has got the 5 pillars. Because if we are able to even achieve 5% of what is in that document, we'll be building the Africa we want. Because a country like South Sudan, they pledged every barrel of oil that was sold, a certain quota was going to for young people. So it's important we keep that in mind. For UNFPA, we work in the health sector. The reason is if you don't have a healthy youth or young people, most of the factors and things we are talking of may not be real. So investing in the sexual and reproductive health is very, very important. I know we're talking about innovative financing, and this is where I think we need to invest and bring that knowledge based, because we are shifting, the world is shifting from funding to innovative finance. And if we get the architecture right, and that is what also the RC indicated, if we can get some bright minds, they can also contribute as to how we build the infrastructure. And I think YouthConnekt has got the potential of working with banks to be able to give the support to young people when they bring out brilliant ideas. For UNFPA, we have launched something we call the Strategic Investment Facility, which is a facility we contribute 20% if it's a 1 million or 2 million initiative. We are going to be able to provide 20%. And right now for Rwanda, we are trying to help in terms of the health post linked to the joint SDG fund. The good news that I'd like to convey is that from our regional office in South Africa, we have pledged some funds to support YouthConnekt for the October summit. I'm not going to disclose the amount. It's going to be channeled as part of the UN contribution to the YouthConnekt. So continue with the great job you are doing. And whatever we are doing related to YouthConnekt is also going to prevent our young people crossing the desert or the seas to get greener pastures. One thing I always tell when we meet in such meetings, don't forget within the context of leaving no one behind, there are a lot of people in the provinces who need to be informed and get to know what we are doing. Because what we are doing in Marriott may not necessarily be transmitted to them. And they also have a lot of brilliant ideas, and they need to be connected to this initiative. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I would love to hear from, the young people here in the building. And, you don't have to really pledge. Your reflection also on what has been happening. You want to say something? Yes.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning once more. Let me stand on all existing protocols to say good day. I am Joseph Madalai. I'm the Director of Youth in the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Government of Sierra Leone. So basically, the Honorable Minister was here last 1 week, where I updated his colleague interventions, YouthConnekt. So the one thing we are happy of as a country is the political will. We have achieved the political will to an extent that for most of the national interventions will be implemented now has the face of YouthConnekt. One before us coming here, Cabinet recently approved that for all of our YouthConnekt centers, they have been named YouthConnekt centers before YouthConnekt coming, where we've been doing access to information for you. My own minister, who happens to be the Minister of Youth, made a proposal to Cabinet. The Cabinet to approve the standard operating procedure for the implementation of the YouthConnekt. So now, when you go to Sierra Leone, for all of the YouthConnekt centers, their names has now been changed to YouthConnekt centers. Instead of youth-friendly centers, now we call them YouthConnekt centers. And so, few things we are looked at where we have been working with UNDP. For us in Sierra Leone, we call them our darling UNDP. For anything that for anything being done in Sierra Leone around young people, UNDP has been the lead. Please, sir, you may extend our gratitude to UNDP Sierra Leone. Of course, UNFP is similarly around sexual reproductive health. We came here a few years ago where we learned around the formation of the National Youth Council. And I'm pleased to inform all of us here that the National Youth Council is fully being operationalized in Sierra Leone. Recently, we commissioned 191 XL motorbikes to all of our youth leaders. Youth leaders from sectional level to chiefdom level, we have to district level, and we have national level. So basically, most of the ministries in Sierra Leone are now working with these structures. For instance, education. In Sierra Leone, the illiteracy rate is so high. So when the current president, Brigadier Retired General Julius Maada came, he realized and prioritized education in the context of human capital development. So in Sierra Leone, we have a new human capital development in the new direction agenda, where education is a priority, allocating 22% of our annual budget just to education. So the young folks we have in those districts do monitor the free quality education, where books are being distributed, uniforms, school bags, so on and so forth. So they are used as agents of change in the monitoring of those activities, taking into cognizance out of school and all the rest. Of course, health, where we have the sexual reproductive health being incorporated in all of our YouthConnekt centers. For one district at 9 a.m., the sexual reproductive health message will be here. It will be nationwide for all where our YouthConnekt are. Put our laptops on in the YouthConnekt centers, you get sexual reproductive health messages. You get messages of national patriotism. So I may not brief you on all of our activities. Basically, I am here to reaffirm Sierra Leone's commitment to YouthConnekt, and be rest assured that for the political will, by October, we will try as much as possible to mobilize more resources to bring at least 100 young people to Rwanda. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I think that was very clear to know that we would have you as a good distribution partner, because sometimes messages are created, but then reaching them to the necessary partners whom we previously called beneficiaries. And I won't say that again. Now, I'm going to give you very few minutes, and I hope you understand, because we have to come to the end of today's session. Maybe to have you stay right after we close, we have beautiful lunch prepared for you, and your digestion should be happy for it. So keep it in mind as you wait. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Christian Masoi. I am originated from Congo, Congo Republic Democratic. So next to here. So, I would like to speak to you about the project. We are a new partner, and I would like to thank very warmly YouthConnekt Africa to give me the opportunity to speak about this digital project. It's about digital transformation. We talk about the opportunity of youth. We talk about, entrepreneurship. For sure, if we look at Africa, there are good examples of startups that do massive things, but there are a few. There are the happy few. What about the 1.2 billions? And this is clearly what we need to face. How can we help this massive population to have the possibility to be connected? So we need to make affordable tools. We need to digitize. Digital is the future of Africa. But maybe digital is not the digital that we know in France or in UK. It has to be different. Why? Because Africans are different. We need to have an African footprint in the way we think about the future of digital Africa. It's not about us. It's about me. When I say me, it's each of the youth that have good ideas that we can start to integrate. In order to do that, what we create is a platform, a digital platform directly integrated in a unique end-to-end solution, mobile device, that will be accessible for each of youth African. I say each, meaning that pricing in terms of accessibility model that will be done to be possible for everybody. In the other side, all the things connected to what people are doing has to be local. We cannot have an answer for people living in Rwanda starting to think about what is done in Senegal. For sure, we can connect. There will be good idea from Senegal that could land in Rwanda and vice versa. And this is why we also need to create a platform where people that are engaged, that are creating things, can start to share. That is the logic of peer-to-peer. That is the logic of what is done today with digital. So the idea, and what I will propose to you, is each of you, each of the partners, financial, medical, education, everything could be inside. There is no limit because digital has no limit. So just come, let's share, and let's build the future of Africa with Africans for Africans.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm really going to apologize. I understand we have amazing initiatives, but that is why we have the team from YouthConnekt Africa here. Please reach out, because what matters is to reach out to them. And of course, saying a few details here, we don't really get to pick it all, but if you reach out, we can even look at more collaborations that you didn't even think of, actually, from co-creation moments, you get to understand more. But I would love also to give a moment to UNICEF and maybe get to hear from them. And then I'll have our closing remarks and I'll be telling you the next step. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, and also RC and our colleagues from UNDP Deputy Representative and Representative UNFPA, our colleagues from WFP as well, and all the young people and participants from other countries. It's really my great pleasure to be here today to join this session. I'm the Deputy Representative in UNICEF Rwanda. I just joined Rwanda office 2 months ago. This session, I was here really listening carefully. It's good lessons to me to understand the context of African countries And I'm really impressed by the energies I can get from all of you, the young people, the young generation, and also this Connected Africa, the platform that created for African young people. It's really impressive. I have to say, thank you for all the organizers. It's really great session. For UNICEF, as you may all know, and UNICEF globally also have a similar initiative, which called Generation Unlimited. The president of Rwanda is the key leader in the global Generation Unlimited. Our Honorable Minister of Youth and Culture is the board member. So Generation Unlimited is very much in line with the vision and mission of this platform. And I do think we have opportunities to see the synergy, the link of these two initiatives, and to link the African experience also introduced to other regions. I do feel here the energy is much stronger and the voice much louder. And in addition, I think in whatever the efforts we're doing, people mention about entrepreneurship, and not only just the business entrepreneurship, but also about social entrepreneurship. A lot of opportunities for social entrepreneurship, looking at our vulnerable population, young girls, and young people with disabilities. Those are people we're not going to leave behind. And in addition, Generation Unlimited has the global initiative to connect private sectors with the young people. That is one of the elements I think this platform also promote a lot. So we're looking forward to work more closely with our UN partners, with the Ministry of Youth and Sports and all other country offices to see how we can create more energy, more collaboration to support young people in Africa and also in Rwanda. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Please, one more time, a round of applause to everyone that has given some of the contributions. And I understand we've had a long day, but how are you? Are you good? Did you have a laugh, smile, and did you enjoy the moment? You should. Research by NBK. NBK is nobody knows. It shows that babies laugh 200 times a day, women 64 times a day, and men tend to reduce it to 8 times a day. So if you laughed more, you broke the record, right? And laughing is a good feeling, and I hope you guys are really enjoying the moment. The next session is going to be networking, and it's not structured. It's you are going to be networking with your colleagues. Of course, we'll be reaching out to you as the YouthConnekt Africa to get to know more ways of how we can collaborate. But I think I'm not the one to help you close the day. I'm going to be asking our ED, Uli Keita, and she will help us understand how to close it. She will also be introducing the guest that is going to be closing today. Uli Keita, the floor is all yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, and One UN, all the national governments here represented, our partners, UNFPA, UN Women, UNICEF, the One Campaign, that Rwanda, the Princess Trust, everybody here present. You are very appreciated, and we welcome you to join us as we prepare for the 2022 YouthConnekt Africa Summit. It's been a pleasure hosting you, and I don't have much to say because everything has already been said. I'd like to just invite my colleague, the president of the Pan-African Youth, to send us off on a high note. You remember Casey started us off this morning with the high note on resilient youth and resilient Africa. I think he will be closing us with another high note. So please welcome, sir, to give the closing ceremony from a young person. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I just want to end this session with a very short story. That story should teach us one or two lessons as we gravitate toward YouthConnekt. But before I tell you, Ramadan Karim to all Muslims here. So whilst I was growing up, there was a story in the community. And the story was that a young man traveled from very far away. But whilst traveling, he was a necromancer. Somebody that reads the stars. He gets to a community, and remember that in the northern part of Ghana, Islam moved from the Sahel all through to the northern part of Ghana before going to the south. So when he got to a community, they were praying. And he got there and said that and in Islam, there's somebody that leads the prayer. So he says Allah Akbar, he goes down, and wake up. He got there and he says that the fellow to wake up or to rise up first will die. So the Imam who was in front said Allah Akbar, he went down, everybody went down. He turned to look to see who would rise up first. Nobody rose up. And he stayed for a few minutes and crawled out. And every other person followed out. And you know how the story ends. Now, the lesson behind this is that leadership has risk. And that risk, we must be ready to take it up. And I think that Rwanda as a country is already started showing us or teaching us the kind of leadership that it takes to carry young people along with us. Now, in this leadership, we need to understand that young people, like my brother said, are not just beneficiaries, but they need to co-create with member states, with partners and stakeholders. And for us at the Pan-African Youth Union, we are more than committed to mobilizing our councils that are the member organizations across the continent to ensure that the 10,000 target that we are expected to meet, we exceed. Let me conclude by saying that each partner in this room has a critical role to play relative to how young people are empowered. And in doing this, we as young people are committed to bring our sense of ingenuity to the table to solve the problems of the continent and achieve the aspirations of Agenda 2063. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for ending it on that note. He was talking to us as young people. Before we go, please give me 2 minutes. There is a video that we thought would be very helpful as a package as we leave. The technical team is ready. Let them play this video, and then please, I'll let you go. But for now, let's just watch the short video. Well, as they are preparing it, maybe I can give you some news. For those of you who are not in the month of Ramadan. Oh, the video has started. Let me just give this announcement right away so that we can go ahead with it. We are having lunch. We are having lunch at, what's the name of this restaurant? It's here, yes, Soko Restaurant. That's where you're having lunch today. So if you ask anyone home to cook, call them off. Tell them today I'm eating VIP. Enjoy, and let's see how the video goes.
Great hope in their capacity to Africa has the largest generation of young people in history. I place great hope in their capacity to shape the future of Africa and make Africa the lion she was meant to be.
theme of the summit is a very important and timely one. There is a lot that is empowering about the statement, the possibility that the continent of Africa can thrive without charity. It holds truth that Africa has within its confines, on its land and its people, enough resources to drive its economic sustenance.
Africa is the world's most entrepreneurial continent, with 22% of the working population starting their own businesses, according to the African Development Bank. This is the highest entrepreneurship rate in the world.
Your generation builds on incredible strides that the continent has made over the last couple of decades. As the generation that is more educated, empowered, and connected than the previous generation, it is important that you lead Africa into its next level of growth, leveraging innovation, entrepreneurship, and collaboration.
My name is Sheima Munir Mazdoui from Kenya.
Je m'appelle Moussa Diouf, je viens du Sénégal. My name is Raphael, I'm from Niger.
My name is Ntiarwin Grema Kayang, and I'm from Ghana.
We are very happy, we're very motivated to see that African governments are actually taking ownership of YouthConnekt Africa. And we are very excited as YouthConnekt Africa to be part of this journey.
This video was to remind you where we are headed. All roads are leading to October. We are yet to know the dates. Before we go, I'd love to have all our guests to please come and we take a group photo. I think we need to mark this day as an amazing thing that happened today to kickstart the conversations. So I'm going to be asking our AD to please join us on stage. I'll also ask our guest honorable minister to please join us on stage so we can take this photo. I would also love to ask Mr. Fode to also join us on stage as we take this photo. And also, yes, please, we are going to fit here. And this is a photo for us to remember the day. And I would love to also have some of the panelists that we had today. I think it would be good to also have you on stage. So please, let me have the protocol team help me out. The photographers also, please get ready. This is one of the time you get to prove your quotations. So make sure that you capture it well. And where are we having it? Yeah? All right, amazing. Please help me protocol our guests to come, our dear guests, to come and take this picture. The rest of the guests that are here, thank you very much. Feel free to also take a picture. You can take selfies. You can use your phones and show that you are here. There are many ways to prove that you came in. Yes, amazing. Let's take this moment. Let's take this moment. Atranda group, you guys are ready. We started off with your rhythm. I think you'll end with another rhythm. Now, let me tell you what's next. We're about to go for lunch. I need you to play some lunch music. All right? Music that plays and I know what's next. Okay. All right. Photographers, are we good? We can even have some. Yes. Perfect.
participation. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. Thank you for your contribution. Without saying again, we are leaving. We are headed to have some lunch. And we hope we are also looking forward to the summit in 2022 October. Have a good day. Have a wonderful day. My name is Arthur, and I was the host of today. Thank you.
Ufite imisozi itera nasanga ubwiza bwawe aribwo buhuruza abagenzi. Ufite imisozi itera nasanga ubwiza bwawe aribwo buhuruza abagenzi. Genda Rwanda uri nziza, oh umeka amahoro. Ibyiza bigutatse Rwanda ni byinshi cyane sinabivuga ngo mbirangize. Oh genda Rwanda uri nziza, oh umeka amahoro. Ibyiza bigutatse Rwanda ni byinshi cyane sinabivuga ngo mbirangize. Ufite imisozi itera nasanga ubwiza bwawe aribwo buhuruza abagenzi. Oh genda Rwanda uri nziza, oh umeka amahoro. Ibyiza bigutatse Rwanda ni byinshi cyane sinabivuga ngo mbirangize. Rwanda uri nziza, oh umeka amahoro. Ibyiza bigutatse Rwanda ni byinshi cyane sinabivuga ngo mbirangize. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
I wanna be rich,
I wanna be famous, I wanna have lots of money. Sorry about the side, I wanna be free, like Nelson Mandela. Stand tall like a pyramid, so courage. Don't place I'd rather be, oh na na na, oh na na na. No place I'd rather be, yeah. Live and die in Africa, oh hey, oh hey. Live and die in Africa, oh hey, oh hey. Live and die in Africa, oh oh. Live and die in Africa, oh hey. Live and die in Africa, live and Nelson Mandela. Soar above the clouds, don't wanna be free like Nelson Mandela. Stand tall like a pyramid, so courageous. No place I'd rather be. Oh na na na, oh na na na. No place I'd rather be. Yeah, even there in Africa. Oh, even there in Africa. Oh, even there in Africa. Even there in Africa. Even there in Africa.
Cause I wanna leave